wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number, and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it, flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Monday, everybody. Yeah, welcome to it. Happy Easter weekend. Hope you had a great one. Had a good time with family and friends and celebrating the Easter holiday. Hope all of you had a wonderful time doing that. Kind of a quiet weekend for the most part.
Yeah, you don't have kids.
Yeah, that's true.
It was a busy weekend. You had the benefit of just getting to stay in a bit.
Yeah.
Did you get out or do anything?
I mean, we ran errands, did stuff, and Sunday did some more errands things, and cooked Easter dinner and all that. But that's about it. Nothing. Didn't go like gallivanting.
Roswell was a bit of a hotbed of activity this weekend.
Well, I know Cahoon Park, the tragedy happened there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was.
Wasn't actually referencing that, but sure that. But no, I mean, Saturday was, there was egg hunts happening everywhere. They had the King of Richland. We were down at Nissan. That was a successful event. People were out and about, man. People were eager to get out and do stuff. And I'll tell you this, if you tried to go to any grocery and or dollar store over the weekend, my condolences.
Actually, I hit Walmart Saturday morning. And but it was early.
If you go on Saturday before like 11, you're fine.
Yeah, it was like
for some reason
9:30.
On Saturday, people wake up. They're like, "Hey, let's go spend our money, all of our money today. You want to just go blow it?"
Yeah.
Like it's insane to me when I drive by and see a parking lot like a Walmart and see 1,000 cars there. I know every single person that's going to that store is probably walking out no less than $10.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
I went in there about 9:30 Saturday, and it wasn't too bad yet. I was getting in, getting out, and getting on with my day.
My problem is I am a procrastinator. And so the plan was, because I didn't have my kids this weekend, I wanted to do something kind of, extra special for them for Easter. So I was going to set up a scavenger hunt at Mom's house. Okay. I was going to go get a bunch of plastic eggs with candy in them and, set them up as like, okay, now go here. And then their Easter baskets, which we had already set up, were going to be their, the final spot of the scavenger hunt. What ended up happening was I went to 3 different stores trying to find plastic eggs.
Yeah.
Plastic eggs.
No dice on that?
No dice. So what I did find was confetti eggs.
Okay.
For those who don't know, that's basically just a regular egg, like eggshell, like a chicken egg, stuffed full of confetti with a little piece of paper over it. So you can smash it, crush it in your hand, throw it against a wall or whatever, and confetti will happen.
Well, sounds like fun.
It's sure, right? Great time for a 3-year-old and 8-year-old. So what I did was I then proceeded to write instructions on each of the eggs.
Okay.
It was cute at the time until afterwards I realized what they ended up looking like was a serial killer broke into their mom's house and scrawled like messily on some eggs, and at the end they were gonna find a murderer or something that was gonna kill them. They looked creepy. Granted, my kids gave me the benefit of the doubt because they're 3 and 8.
Sure,
but
they probably didn't notice any of that and enjoyed it and loved it.
It was after the fact. I was like, oh, this really feels phoned in, Dad. But the kids had a good time. They enjoyed the scavenger hunt and they found their baskets. They had fun there too. So
good.
It was good.
Well, good. That's at the end of the day, as long as everyone enjoyed themselves.
Kids was happy. Easter accomplished.
Had a great, yeah. I mean, the only things I was hearing was, of course, obviously the tragedy, the shooting. 2, I believe, we lost their lives
it was,
at the shooting, Cahoon Park.
15 and 16, I believe.
Yeah, all kids, and heard that they were in the park trying to buy a gun or something.
The story, as I've heard, goes that they were in the park with the intention of purchasing a gun. I don't know if the people that they were purchasing the gun from were the ones that rolled up on them and shot them, or if that was the reason for the purchase of the gun. But either way, they was over by the tennis courts, I believe.
Yeah.
And
very sad, very, very sad. But and then I guess conversely, good news. I saw a thing this morning saying the McBride fire is like 80% contained now.
Yeah, good weekend for the McBride fire and for the firefighters up there. They had a great chance to kind of get a grip on things up there.
So it looks like they've got that about under wraps here, and now they shift to the business of starting over and building, and cleaning up the structures that were all destroyed.
That's the thing is we haven't had a chance to even go through and just kind of assess the situation. Yeah. So that needs to happen first. People just need to go through and just figure out what's left.
Oh yeah, well, that's what they're doing now. So, but I hope everyone out there had a great Easter weekend, and ours was pretty quiet. I cooked some steaks. Kim cooked some corn on the cob. We kind of did a steak corn kind of for dinner, and that was pretty much. We really didn't do much Saturday. We just kind of did some odds and ends, and it wasn't nothing exciting.
I do got to shout out Bethel Baptist Church. I graced the presence of a church. The first time in a real long time, people. But yes, Bethel Baptist Church. I got a chance to go to their Easter Sunday service. Fantastic service to watch they had a cantata, which I've never actually seen before, which to me sounds like a delicious breakfast treat. As soon as she said, hey, we're going to go to a cantata, I'm like, awesome, I'll bring fork and knife.
So I think it's a Japanese sword.
Oh, okay. Katana, cantata. Yeah, I can see that. But instantly my mind jumped to frittata.
Okay.
It was not that though. It was a beautiful musical presentation of basically the story of Jesus.
Okay.
His death and resurrection. Told really beautifully through songs, some amazing solos. But just shout out to the choir, the choral department over at Bethel Baptist Church. They knocked it out of the park.
Nice, good deal. Sure, they did a wonderful job.
Fantastic.
I'm just not a person that's the audience that's intended.
Sure.
So
makes sense.
But I appreciate the hard work and talent of people. That I'm not a musical guy. You start singing to me, I'm like, I'm out. I just talk to me. You don't sing to me. But it's just me. I'm a curmudgeon. Self-proclaimed curmudgeon.
I think that it would hit us differently if it happened in the streets. Like if somebody come up to you and like, Mike, I've got some news for you. Be like, ooh, I'm in. Tell me more. I could be like, oh, God, here we go.
Yeah, I would be like, go away. I don't want to hear la, 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 stick my fingers in here.
So you would block out their singing with your singing. Oh, totally makes sense. Yeah.
Well, I don't qualify what I do singing.
No. I just la, 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 la. It's just one note.
But it's a good one.
I almost went into the Phantom of the Opera. La, 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 la.
It was weird. I feel very, like, was it yesterday or Saturday? One of these days we were watching TV, and all of a sudden the TV channel went from the shows we were watching to showing a movie.
Right.
And so the beginning, they just started showing, like, the intro of the movie, not really. And just based on the songs and everything, I just looked at Kim and said, oh, it's about to be an Adam Sandler movie. She goes, how do you know? And maybe it's... I said, no, sure enough. Happy Gilmore. There it is. Or nice. No, Billy Madison. I'm sorry, Billy Madison. And, and I was like...
Now, you got this before the Happy Madison logo?
Oh, all of that.
Okay.
Like, it was the first couple notes of the song. Like, it was just the beginning of the Happy Madison. Like, they were showing... but it wasn't even...
Those movies didn't even have the Happy Madison logo.
Yeah, it was early in that one. So I don't know. Something about it. I don't know if I've seen that movie so many times. It went right there. And
I'll tell you this.
I just looked at her. I said, that's about to be a hat.
I have seen the movie Coneheads enough times that every time if I'm watching something and I hear the start, if I hear Paul Simon's Kodachrome on, I'm like, it's Coneheads. Yeah, it's Coneheads. When I think back on all the crap I did in high school. Anyways, I was going to show you this because this is how much this show has affected me You know, a show affects me when it ends up in my Spotify liked songs playlist. Mm-hmm. So with that in mind.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know it's going.
Dude, it is an obsession now.
Isn't that song so crack addicting?
It's so good.
I know. It's bad as good.
There's a line in this song, and I actually went back and listened and watched or read the lyrics. There's a line in the chorus: "Throw your dog the invisible bone."
Yes.
That is an amazing lyric.
Yeah, it's like at the end of the song.
Throw your dog the invisible bone. That's such a good line. For no reason.
Well, he's talking about, for those who are like, what is that? So, HBO Max is, which I believe the entire first season.
Yeah, it's all out now.
Is up.
I haven't finished it yet, but it's all out.
Yeah, up on HBO Max. It's called The Peacemaker, and it's a spin-off TV show of the Suicide Squad. It's DC's version of them trying to be like Marvel.
Yeah,
and so. So not the Will Smith Suicide Squad, the reboot one they did later. John Cena plays a character in there called the Peacemaker.
Yes,
and his whole slogan is he's going to do whatever it is.
Yeah. He seeks peace at any cost.
Yeah, and so he'll
how many men, women, and children have to die to get peace.
Yeah, he'll nuke the world for peace. But anyway, So his character's in the Suicide Squad movie. Well, then they spin it off and they give him a backstory and basically do a television series about him, which that's what we're talking about. So it's John Cena as the Peacemaker, right. and
not family friendly. Don't bring your kids.
But it's like he's kind of like a cheesy '80s rocker kind of type, very much into the glam rock of the '80s, and so he lives his life that way. So it's kind of funny. It's just funny. But the intro song, they do this elaborate dance number every intro of the show, and it's that song. And
it's the band Wigwam, by the way.
And so you've got John Cena and all the characters from the show, literally all of the characters, make a dancing cameo in this dance.
Oh, dude, when Judo Boy showed up or whatever his name is in the intro, I was like, what the? Come on! And he hoists him up. And at first, you didn't realize who that character was until he showed up in the episode. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Almost it's a precursor to people you have met and haven't met in the show yet.
It's real good. But one thing I think that DC has over Marvel, and I think they're starting to realize this, is they don't have Mickey Mouse as an overlord.
That's true.
They have the freedom to kind of push the envelope a little bit.
Sure.
They can be more risque. They can be more, adult oriented. I think that's
and
where
that
DC
might be
shines.
the audience where they're trying to get. Like Marvel's trying to, like you said, get the whole family.
But they're pushing the envelope as much as they can.
Yeah.
In that it's like, well, we put one S word in our movies. That's risque.
But at the end of the day, they know their bread and butter is selling Iron Man toys. You know what I mean? Where
ride tickets at Disney.
And I think DC's trying to, with the darker stories, with the, you know what I mean? They're trying to lure in the 20-somethings and those type of people, and the people that spend a lot of money on Batman toys and put them on shelves. They're trying to hit those people.
They skew a bit older.
Yeah.
Which, if you watch The Peacemaker, you get it. I mean, that's there's a part of that series where I'm just like, wow.
It's funny. It was a funny show.
It's very funny. Yes.
Yeah, I did laugh. It was better, and I thought it was going to be bad, and I ended up digging it. So for me, it was a pleasant surprise.
Sure.
So, let me give you the rundown for today's show. Yeah, we got a whole thing. I haven't done that yet.
Oh yeah.
We're going to replay a couple interviews this hour next. Larry Martin with the Roswell Literacy Council joined us last week. Just giving us update. They've got their Knowledge Bowl they're going to be doing later on here in I believe during the summer here. But we got an update from him, so we'll play that for you. In the 8 o'clock hour, last week we had a gentleman named Aaron Baylock. He's with the Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District, the PVACD.
Oh, yeah.
And
the Pavacid.
Yes, and he joined us to tell you what the PVACD does. And then, of course, they're hiring, looking for some folks to be a part. But especially if you live out in the county and you're on well water and all that, you probably know what the PVACD is. And they're the folks that really help, especially people in the county with, like, getting wells plugged and all that. The Water Conservancy District.
Not to be confused with the PVACDC. They rock.
I don't even know what that one is.
It's just some metal band from the 80s combined with the letters PV.
Oh, okay.
PV, AC/DC.
I get you.
They're back in black.
You've been thunderstruck.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thunderstruck.
We've all been thunderstruck at some point. It just happens.
And then finally, in the 9 o'clock hour, about 9:15, Tabitha Denny's going to be joining us. And I believe she's bringing in guests with her. We're going to be talking Royal Family Kids Camp Purple Day.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming up. A great organization. If you're not familiar, we'll talk about it. And then talk about Purple Day coming up and talk about the Family Kids Camp and all that good stuff. So, plus we'll have all of your features as well that include the news of the local and national varieties, features, and whatever else we can come up with for today's show. Before we do any of that, though, let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Our daytime highs going on a warming trend over the next couple of days as low pressure develops over eastern New Mexico. Sunshine today and about 80 to 85 on our afternoon high. A few clouds overnight down to the upper 50s and breezy, and then we'll get a mix of sunshine and clouds on Tuesday. Looks like upper 80s. Then by Wednesday, we'll hit the low 90s with sunshine. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 48 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 18%. Winds currently out of the north at 10 miles per hour. For today, some increasing clouds. Highs in the mid-80s, 84 officially, with north winds 10 to 15. Later in the day, shifting to the southeast, 15 to 20 for the afternoon. Tonight, mostly cloudy with an overnight low of 55 degrees. Southeast winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. Tuesday, partly cloudy with a high near 90. Winds will be out of the south, 15 to 20. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with an overnight low of 56 degrees. West winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Looking at the rest of the week, mid-90s and sunny on Wednesday, but breezy with west winds 10 to 15 early, picking up 15 to 20, gusting as high as 30 miles per hour later in the day. Thursday, sunny and 94. Friday, sunny, 94 and windy. And then your weekend, sunny 84 for Saturday, sunny 84 on Sundays. So a little bit cooler, but overall spring/summer-like temperatures for the week here. All right, it is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're going to take a 3-minute commercial break, and then on the other side, we're going to play our interview with Larry Martin from the Roswell Literacy Council. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Do you believe that something great can be even better? We do. By adding sweetened peaches to creamy peach ice cream, Bluebell has raised the bar on flavor. Try a half-gallon or pint of Peachy Peach today. You'll be better for it.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell half gallons, $4.77 each at all United and Market Street supermarkets through April 19th.
You know what happens in the spring. It's cleanup time. And AC&B, HF Sinclair, Navajo Refining, and the Boy Scouts are at it again to help clean up our community. The Scouts will come to your house and haul off items that you need to dispose of and have no way of hauling. The dates for pickup are April 23rd, May 28th, June 4, and June 11. Just call 575-513-0143 and let me know when, where, and what. Take advantage of this free service and let's make Artesia clean and beautiful.
The Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District is looking for a qualified field technician to join their team. The PVACD conserves the waters of the Roswell Artesian Basin with lands located in both Chavez and Eddy counties. Please visit their website at pvacd.com for requirements and job qualifications or for more information on this great career opportunity. Resumes can be submitted at the PVACD office located at 2303 East 2nd Street
Street in Roswell. The Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District is an equal opportunity employer. Martine's Capital Cafe in Roswell offers authentic and highly rated New Mexico food. Explore their amazing menu featuring huevos rancheros or asado with eggs or their green chili stew. And you can't forget their award-winning green chili cheeseburger, all made from scratch using their finest and freshest ingredients. Open for carryout with curbside delivery or limited dine-in. Just call ahead 624-2111. Martine's Capital Cafe, always pleasing the most refined palate. Open Monday through Saturday from 6 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. at 110 West 4th in Roswell.
Sure, you can inspect your own roof, get out that rickety ladder, crawl around up there and try to spot the problem until... Or you could call the experts at Do Right Roofing. Do Right Roofing has quality products for any type of roof. They can even install seamless gutters. Do Right Roofing will inspect your roof and give you a free estimate fast. Keep your feet on the ground. Call Do Right Roofing today.
575-623-2273. Let Do Right do your roof right.
Find them fast in names and numbers.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. 7% of American adults, roughly 16.4 million Americans, believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. We don't know if they asked them where strawberry milk comes from. Here's Mike Winters.
Joining us in studio this morning, actually wearing a couple hats this morning. I give the Roswell Literacy Council, but he's actually wearing multiple hats here this morning. Larry Martin with us, wearing not only his Roswell Literacy Council, but the RSVP as well, too. So good morning. How you doing today?
Good.
Good deal. Well,
good to be here.
Yeah, it's I know COVID, like many people, put a damper on things going on, but it sounds like the Literacy Council, you guys are back to is it all pre-COVID like you were pre-COVID, or pretty close to that?
Yeah, pretty close. But the main problem we have now is that all the volunteers we had have gone to sleep or gone somewhere. And
so you need a new staff of people to come volunteer and be a part of the literacy.
We have a shall we say a solid group now. But in order to tutor the kids, and that's our main object, is to tutor citizens, not just kids.
Yeah.
But last fall, we gave someone, got them up to getting their citizenship. So that's great. You know, you teach them certain things, and most of them are Hispanic. We teach them English.
Sure.
And I imagine if somebody wanted to learn Hispanic, we could find you a tutor, too. So
I imagine, yeah. I mean, you could go the other way as well, too, and say, hey, I'm pretty fluent in English, but I'd love to be fluent in Spanish. Well, I'm sure we could find.
We might be able to find someone.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the Literacy Council is for all folks. If you're, we always talk about kids and literacy and making sure, and which very important. We want to make sure every child has all of that. But really, you guys work with all that. But really, you also want to make sure that adults are where they're at and they need to be. And I know adults. We've talked in the past about the percentages and how. You would be surprised the percentage of adults that live in your own backyard here that would be qualified as illiterate here just because, and they manage, they get life, and they figured out ways, but it could be so much easier if they take that time. And I don't care how old you are, how young you are, there's never a time to start learning to read and to be proficient and literate. And that's where you guys really want to make sure you get that word out to people.
Well, it helps if you can read the warning labels on food, and your prescription labels on how many pills to take a day, things like that.
Yeah,
and, that's could be life-threatening in some cases.
Absolutely, and to be honest, for that information, you're always relying on other people to tell you, and that works, I guess, but. If you're trtrustworthy, and you know what I mean.
If you have a memory.
Yeah, exactly, in a memory, and so that's where we want. If folks are looking to be, to become better readers, to be proficient readers, maybe you can read, but it's only at like a 3rd or 4th grade level. Let's see if we can get that to age appropriate, group level appropriate, where you can, because now the world's your oyster. Now you're not stuck getting your entertainment from just a television or, you know what I mean? You once you can read, there's nobody stopping you. Nobody telling you what you can't consume and not consume because there's there's no disability there to prevent you from doing that. So,
well, I remember when I was a kid, the neighborhood I was in had a bunch of books on Tarzan.
Okay.
And I read every one. It must have been about 20 of them.
Okay.
And I read every one of them when I was about 8 or 9 or so, and it was, to me that was fantasy. That was
sure, the adventure.
Harry Potter of the day.
Yeah.
Harry Potter of the day. And one of the main things the Literacy Council puts on or works with is the Youth Challenge.
Yes.
And the last 2 years we haven't worked with them because they weren't in.
Yeah, they were locked down with COVID as well and had their own protocols and procedures.
And they're back, and we're going to be tutoring some of their guys.
Good.
And I think they start with about 100, and we tutor maybe 20 of them.
Excellent.
And it's usually just basic math and English and
the skill sets required to really, if they needing to obtain a GED or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, very good.
And we find that a lot of them can't. Well, almost all of them are high school dropouts, and I don't want to push their program too much because I don't know a lot about it. But
they do great stuff.
Oh, you betcha!
If you need help,
it's a great state investment. I guarantee that.
Please reach out to them. They're helping people all the time.
As you may notice, every time we have a parade,
they're out there.
They're in it.
Yeah. And I know one of the organizations I work with, the historical society, they scholarships and things. They're working with them too. The Job Corps folks. They're very much part of the fabric of this community and doing a lot of stuff.
They help make Roswell.
Yeah. They contribute as much as they receive help. They give back just as much. So it's awesome.
Which means, indirectly or directly, I guess, that we need tutors to help with these youth.
Sure.
So,
like you said, you're about to get roughly 100 students that you got to put under your tutelage here.
That's right.
And you need some folks to help make that mission happen.
Right.
Very good.
I tutor math. I've been doing it maybe 4 or 5 years now.
Okay.
I lose track. And it's enjoyable. I get 2 or 3 a year, and I always wonder where they went and what they did, but they all learn a little with me.
Well,
I'm sure they do with any tutor we can find that will volunteer to go out there. And we'll check you out first.
Yeah, well, they got to find out.
And make sure you know what you're doing.
Sure.
So it won't be embarrassing.
And that's the thing, too, is you don't have to, sure, if you're a teacher, a retired teacher, or involved in education and want to step up, we'd love to have you do that. But what I'm saying is you don't have to necessarily have that background experience to contribute here. If you can read, if you can do math, if you can do these, the basic skill sets, then the Literacy Council will give you the tools to help you teach those things.
Yes,
the workbooks, the all the material and instruction stuff that you need. All we need is you to be that conduit to present that message and information to the person we're teaching it to, and be that and explain it into ways that make it understandable to them, and so that they can navigate through it, helping them navigate whether it's reading or math or science or whatever basics that you need to pass to get your GED. All those areas, if you kind of do that, and that's where you really need the help, is those people sitting down working with these students, be it adults, kids, or whatever in between, just navigating these workbooks, navigating through the lessons, and kind of helping them have their light bulb moments to when all of it makes sense to them.
Right.
Yeah.
I noticed one of your advertisements has a lady who went back and got her GED at the age of 30. It's on your radio station.
Yeah.
And that's the point. If you reach a point where you had to drop out of high school for whatever reason,
life happens.
Yeah, it happens. So that's one of the things that the challenge does, is it tries to get GEDs for some of their kids. They can't get them all, obviously, but if you can't multiply, you'll have a hard time getting through calculus.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do that for a GED.
Right.
But
you know what? You do need to multiply. You're going to need that to live. We talk math, and you'd be amazed how often you use math in the day, and probably don't even realize you're using math. Even your brain's just
that's right
automatically doing that.
And if you can't do that, if you've depended on a calculator now for the last 10 years, like I think
everything.
I won't criticize education too much.
Humanity has relied on this thing for everything nowadays.
Right,
This
right.
smartphone is turned into our brains, and not always for the good.
Well, like you say, a lot of it is automatic. When I see 7 and 6, I see 42.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, when I teach these students, I say 7 and 6, and it takes them about 30 seconds to get to 42 because they're using their fingers.
Right.
So that's okay if they get there. But my object is to get it there faster.
Get it automatic, more shortcuts, more second nature to you. You know, and then, I mean, you get everyone, we all do it. How many times you go to the store and you're walking through and you're doing the math and you're right, there's a steak, there's potato, that's going to cost me this. I mean, that's math. That's applying these skill sets that you've been learning all the time in school, or you know, what graduates learn to do that. This is what you'll get. So.
And you're afraid of doing your taxes too because your math is suspect.
Yeah, well,
anyway,
and you feel like, well, if I messed up the grocery bill a little bit, no big deal. But you mess up your taxes, now you got, you know, people with government initials in front of you crawling up your butt. You don't want that either.
Yeah,
so.
I won't make any comment on that.
another discussion for another day here. But if you're interested in volunteering, maybe, you know, whether it's a couple hours a week or a couple days a month or whatever it is that you're available for, whatever it is, we'd love to have you be a part of that. What's probably the best way to reach out to you guys?
Well,
to
we're in
become
the
a
phone
volunteer?
book, Literacy Council.
Okay.
It might be under Roswell Literacy Council.
Okay. I think everything I've seen and heard, it's under Roswell Literacy Council. So if you don't find it under that, look under Literacy Council.
Right.
But check Roswell Literacy Council
Right,
first.
Yeah.
And reach out that way. And then you guys still meeting up at the office up the street here? Or
Yes,
is that
on
still
10th Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
And we own the building. We take care of it. That's our major expense is keeping the building
the
running.
upkeep, the
And
paying the
because we
light
have-
bill and all that.
Yeah, we got a lot of computers and rooms to study.
Well,
and
in
we
essence,
have
that's your classrooms. That's
Yeah.
your tutoring center there. So
Right.
got to have internet, got to have computers and lights and all the tools needed to educate. So very good. So, and I imagine you could probably even use help in all that type of stuff. So maybe you're thinking, well, I'm not the best at teaching, but if you need help, you know, keeping your computers up to date, you know what I mean, doing all the ancillary stuff that's required of running a nonprofit organization. Probably always looking for volunteers on that side of things too. If maybe you're not good at working one-on-one with people, but you're good at making sure that the computers work and the lights work and the doors operate and all those kinds of stuff. Always looking for volunteers to kind of be a part of the, you know, the part of the duck under the water where that makes the legs move 100. We need some of those people too.
That's right. You don't see them, but it's working.
Yeah, absolutely. What else do we want to mention there on the Literacy Council?
I was talking to a buddy of mine who we're an RSVP, which is Roswell retired service. Senior.
I never knew what the actual RSVP stood for.
Yeah, retired senior volunteers and
program.
Basically 55 and up.
Gotcha.
But there's a lot of people retired are sitting around, you know, like I say, picking your nose and trying to figure out what to do.
Maybe you've lost like your sense of purpose a little bit because you're retired or whatever. You're like, I'm getting up and I ain't got nothing to do today. What am I going to do? You know.
Well, if you want to get involved, you know, RSVP is really a central point of locating volunteers,
seniors that are looking for something.
Yeah, and put them in a position such as building new homes for
like Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah, Habitat.
Okay.
And we have several. We work with Harvest Ministries, and we just find volunteers for them.
Okay.
And it's no cost. We don't charge anything. We're supported by the feds and by the state.
Nice.
A very minor amount, I might add, because we don't have many expenses.
You ain't gonna be sipping pina coladas under palm trees with this funding. Huh?
If they're doing it, they don't tell me.
No fun, not that kind of funding. But and so really, if you're someone 55 and up, looking to get involved in more things, or maybe you're retired or about to be retired, and you're saying, you know what? Because I know what happens. I'm near 50. You know, you start thinking about things, and you're kind of like, yeah, you're thinking, man, it's gonna be great. I don't have to get up in someone else's schedule, or And then you do it for a little bit, and you're like, all right, I'm kind of bored. What do you know? I'm tired of doing.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, it's like I'm so used to having a laid out schedule all day, and after a while, you kind of miss it. You kind of miss that. I mean, at first you're like, woo, party, and pantsless viewings of watching TV and all the things you know.
You stay in your pajamas till noon, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fun for a week or two, but then after a while, you're kind of like, all right, I need something. And here's what happens is you're going to start meeting these people and get invested, and next thing you know, your passions are going to change. You're going to change from whatever your job was to seeing these people, and then you individually making an impact on these people's lives every day, and you're going to get invested, and you're going to get caring, and I dare I say, you're probably going to make some friendships and some personal relationships with some folks that will probably enhance and enrich and make your life that much better. So.
Well, we know there's a lot of retired people in town.
Yeah. So let's.
We welcome you to come do something with some other retired people.
That's a big workforce of labor right there. Let's give them a purpose and put them to good use for some stuff here and helping out our community. All of which. Our people have chewed a lot more dirt, a lot more experience and wisdom than we possess, and let's tap into that, utilize that. That's, when we talk about humanity, sometimes I think our greatest gift and asset is that wisdom in things. It's the ability to have our elders and our folks that have experienced life passing that knowledge on to the younger generations. That's how humanity works. That's how humanity thrives and survives. So as we get older, our responsibilities change from doing the work to being the ones that mentor the people doing the work. And that's kind of our role in society at that point. And
now, RSVP is under Chavez County.
Under Chavez County.
Chavez County.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about, if you're a senior and 55 up and have a desire to serve, look up RSVP, and maybe you don't know where. That's where I think.
It's under Chavez.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to serve, but not knowing where you best can serve, I think that's where RSVP can help you.
Well, if you go in and talk to Sean, he's the gentleman there.
Oh, yeah, we've had Sean on.
Yeah,
it's been a while, but we've had him on show.
Yeah, I asked him. He said he'd been here before.
Oh yeah, he's been on quite a few.
He didn't want to go back or something like that. I can't remember what he said. Yeah. Anyway,
he didn't like my. No, I'm just kidding. Said that guy had bad breath or something.
Anyway, he'll tell you what connections we have. We don't have connections with everybody. Different, administrative techniques or whatever, organizations. Anyway, he can connect you to several places.
Sure.
That help the homeless, help the people in town.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps Roswell be a better city.
I think don't they get involved a lot with Senior Olympics and stuff too? RSVP.
Yes,
I think they partner a lot with them on Senior Olympics issues and things.
They have people down at the Joyce Center.
Yeah.
And
they're kind of all over. They got their finger in a lot of pies around.
I can't remember all of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
But another great way to be plugged in, be connected, and to be a vessel for you to be a conduit to serve in this community.
Right.
So please look into this kind of stuff. And now that we're starting to creep out of the COVID, everyone's coming out of their homes and getting back to trying to recreate life before all this and getting it back to normal. This is how we do that. And this is so. Folks, if you'd love to get involved, maybe you're newly retired now. Maybe you weren't retired going into COVID. Now you are a retiree and thinking, you know what? Now that things are happening again, I want to get involved. I want to get active. I want to reach out. Let's get involved with the Literacy Council, RSVP, organizations like this that can do a lot of great for our community.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, I know the moment. And if you think, because I know there's probably other people out there that think that I'm not cut out for that. That's not me. I couldn't sit down and mentor a person on how to read. I don't know if I've got the pay. And trust me, you'll be surprised what you can do. And I'm telling you, once you have your success, your first success, then it's going to bite you like a bug. You're going to be like, that was so cool. The feeling you get when you have a person that did not understand something and not comprehend it, and then they have that light bulb moment over all that you've been talking about clicks, where for whatever it is, the reading or whatever, and then you have that moment. It's like, oh, I'm telling you, it's going to be a moment that fills you with joy and fills you with purpose. And you're and it's going to, I'm not going to lie, it's going to give you fuel to help the next one. Because there's going to be days where you get frustrated, and then you have that moment, and that just erases all the frustrations. The moment you're like, this is why I'm here today. Because I just made someone's life better because of this.
Right.
Yeah, and that's all you're doing. And it's one person at a time. And so if you'd like to get involved, please reach out. Go look up the Roswell Literacy Council in the phone book. Give them a call. You guys have the Facebook. Do you still keep that active too, the Roswell Literacy Council?
I don't
Facebook?
have anything to do with that, so I'm not sure how active it is.
Well, you can try to leave a message. If you don't get anybody, they don't keep. You know what? Don't hesitate to shoot to us. We'll make sure it gets.
We do take messages. It's not someone on duty all day because we can't afford to pay them.
Sure.
So as a result, we do have a recording.
Gotcha.
You can leave a message.
Leave a voicemail if you don't get it.
Voicemail, yeah.
Well, it's like it's all volunteers. It's
Right.
all a bunch of people that are just donating of their time and energy to make the Literacy Council happen here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if there's not someone manning the phones, leave a voicemail. They get back to you as soon as someone's in the. And like I said, especially for tutoring and stuff, I imagine your hours are all over the place. It's at the convenience of the people that are needing the help. So
Exactly.
if it's the middle of the day for them that works best, then there's people in the office in the middle of the day doing it. If it's at 7 o'clock at night after work when they're in there doing it, then that's when they're doing it.
Well, naturally, a lot of them are retired teachers. It's obvious that they're attracted to that.
Sure. But even like some of the people you're helping, maybe they are working a full-time job. They can't afford to be out there during the day, so they're trying to get their GEDs or getting their appropriate education, on the weekends and after hours and things like that. And you guys work with all that. So, yeah. And then for RSVP, what's probably the best way to reach out through there? Do you know?
The phone book under Chavez County
RSVP.
Yeah, I keep saying Chavez. I was in California. It was Chavez in California.
Well, I used to say Chavez, and then they used to give me a hard time. It's not Chavez, it's Chavez. So I've adopted it. No one's yelled at me since I said Chavez, so I guess I'm doing it right.
The Literacy Council, too. If you remember, I was there last year for the Knowledge Bowl.
Yeah.
And we're planning on doing it sometime in September or October after school gets going. And
so if you...
we won't be on a Cowboy football game day.
That's probably good planning.
That.
Yeah. Avoid any... Friday nights for high school football and Sundays for the pros. Those are 2 days in the fall you probably don't want to mess with, and because you're going to find out that a lot of other people have important priorities on those days.
Right.
So, but... so you can start putting your teams together if you haven't chance to participate. We did it the last time you guys had when I was with the American Legion post then, but we participated.
That's right. And, the Eagles has always been there, and Altruza has always been there.
And I imagine our American Legion post will be back this year putting a team in.
Good.
We have a group that loves doing trivia and doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. You put your teams together here, and it's all a fundraising event for the Literacy Council. Every single dime that you pay for registration fees and all that goes to help the programs and everything at the Literacy Council. So, but yeah, you can compete for bragging rights. I think you got some prizes, some pretty cool prizes and stuff too for your winners, if I remember.
Well, it wasn't much in prizes, but we do give you snacks for the afternoon.
They do have great food.
2 or 3 hours of good fun.
If you walked away hungry from that event, you it's your own fault.
It's your own fault.
You. But we had a great time and a lot of camaraderie, a lot of good. It's just fun. A little bit of banter back and forth. Everything's friendly and everything's fun, but it's just a bunch of people basically. And if I remember right, you had a good turnout. We had about 20 teams or so that were competing that year.
Well, we'd like to have more. We can put 40 of them in the Joint Center.
It looked like a lot. I just remember seeing a bunch of competitors. So
if we have to, we'll lease the convention center. But
there you go.
That'll be the future. That'll be a long way.
That'd be a good problem to have, right? Yeah. So, or maybe you have to do it outdoors someplace. It gets a wool bowl.
We invited all the high schools, and I talked to the superintendent at the time, and we were kind of disappointed because none of them showed up.
Yeah.
None of them participated. We didn't give them enough advance or something.
They probably would have wiped the floor with us, too.
Well, they probably would have, but the questions are designed for youth, old, and middle. And
I know you guys do
sports
very...
and non-sports and history and non-history, geography. I mean, there are a lot of questions.
Yeah. So
I personally come up with.
So
don't bribe me.
A pro tip, if you're putting together, assembling your team, it behoove you to kind of try to get experts in various categories. So if you have a sports person, then, put them on the team. If you have maybe a math person, put them on the team. If you have a person who maybe is good at literature or that kind of stuff, put them on. If you've got a sports trivia or a movie buff or TV buff, try to get something from as many broad categories as possible. So that way you kind of cover all your bases as far as where the general knowledge questions
It helps to have a teenager because he'll know all the youth questions.
Yeah, you want a youngin'.
And I will have some.
You want a youngin'. Maybe the real thing is to go generational. Get you a millennial, get you a Gen Xer, get you a baby boomer, and because you're going to need a couple Cliff Clavin types from Cheers. You got to have those guys in there, the ones who have a tidbit about everything. But then you're going to need a couple on the trigger fast people too. Because sometimes knowledgeable people are pontificators, and speed is not their. They're built for comfort, not for speed. But you're going to need a little speed to get in on the.
Well, we thought it was speed was important. Like for instance, we started at a minute. Everybody had an answer in a minute. So we went down to 30 seconds, and then every once in a while someone couldn't get an answer. But generally speaking, with 5 men on a team or people on a team, one of them has an answer in 10 seconds.
Sure. You either know it or you don't.
Yeah.
And occasionally you're like, I know it. Give me a second. I got to rack the name. It's in there somewhere. And that's the biggest issue. And you're like, oh, I know who it is. I picture the face. What's the name? And that's the biggest hurdle. So.
Well, we also had questions. Nobody answered. So I was proud of that.
Yeah. That's your, Larry's like, not answered. I did my job.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't really go. This is not trivia. This is not unimportant stuff.
Yeah. He's the stunt master.
The questions are important.
Yeah.
Geography, you really ought to know. Like, what's the, where's Greenland?
Yeah.
Everybody knows what that is.
Yeah. There is basic things that I think every human being should at least be aware of. You know what I mean? And you're right. That's one of them is.
In any case, get your team. I'll put a little promo here. Get your teams, 5 people. It costs $100 as a donation.
Yes.
Tax deductible if anyone wants it deducted. And we meet generally be a Sunday afternoon when everyone else is relaxing.
Yeah.
The only thing is a NFL ball game.
Yeah.
And
we'll pick it on Dallas's bye week. That way.
That's my plan.
Yeah, there you go. But look for this here in September in the fall. We'll and of course we'll get these guys in and start hyping it more as we get close to the event and getting putting out the call for teams or people that want to get involved. But in the meantime, if you'd like to reach out and be a part of the Literacy Council or RSVP, either one to volunteer to work in our community, RSVPs for our 55 and up seniors, Literacy Council. Boom to the tomb. If you're going to help, we got room for you, kind of thing. So, but for folks, seniors, retired folks, young, whatever, we'd love to have you come be a part of the Literacy Council, teaching folks to read or teaching, getting folks competent for their GEDs or English as a second language. We get a lot of folks there. So if you got some bilingual folks, that would be very useful for the Literacy Council here to help. With tutoring and training and things like that too. So, and then put the bee in the bonnet. Start putting together those Knowledge Bowl teams. Start getting your sports person, your literature person, your math person, your generational young person, old person. Token all that to cover all bases, and then assemble your team of 5 for here in September. So.
We would like to invite all of the. Service clubs like Altrusa has been there a long time.
Yeah.
But Kiwanis and Rotary.
Yeah, get them all out there.
See, Lions Club was there last time, and Satoma and Optimist.
Yeah.
And like all of those guys, I challenge you to put 5 guys on there to beat the Lions.
Yeah.
The Lions came in real high last year.
Yeah, Lions were. They were on their A game. I think we came in second, if I remember right, second or third. I don't remember off the top of my head, but. There's some. We need some competition out there. So calling out the Kiwanis and the Elks and like you said,
American Legion was
American
there.
Legion.
Yes, so
get you out there. There's 2 posts now in the area. We can get 2 Legion teams in there. So let's get.
We get high enough, we'll get on CBS Wild World of Sports.
There you go. I heard the VFW guys are trying to get back together. Maybe you can put a Knowledge Bowl team together. Yeah. So definitely, let's get out there. So. Larry, is there anything we missed? Anything we wanted to share about either that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
Well, we invited all the high schools.
Okay.
Including Lake Arthur and all of them in the driving distance.
Yeah.
That way.
Well, maybe now that the world's open up and stuff, people will be ready to come out for this one here in September.
So. Last year, the Youth Challenge won the high school.
Wow. So there's the gauntlet.
So that's it. And they help us run it, frankly. We'd have a hard time running it without them.
All I'm saying is, maybe God or Roswell University High. I think you could take them. You got to prove it, though. You got to get out there and put out your team.
You got to get out there and prove it.
Yeah, so get out there.
Don't be embarrassed.
Yeah, Lake Arthur, where are you at? Dexter, Hagerman, where are you at? Come on out there.
Yeah.
Prove your teachers that show them your teachers know what they're doing. They taught you a bunch of good stuff. Get them in there and kick some tail.
If we have time.
Yeah.
Okay. I work with RSVP and we work with volunteer organizations, but we've noticed that I'm also with the Midday Lions Club.
Okay.
And we've noticed that the service organizations, which we have 7 or 8 in town, and they're all good organizations, and they all do a lot of work, and they have a lot of advertisements show things in the paper about Students of the Month and a lot of good stuff. So I would like to encourage the people who are not doing anything to volunteer. Check out one of these service clubs. They may be doing what you want to do.
Sure.
And you'll never know until you visit. And they will all welcome visitors.
Absolutely.
So you have to find out.
Get involved. This is and I've been saying this, for the last 2 years here with this COVID and everything. We've got to play catch up on a lot of stuff.
You got it.
Educating our kids. The nonprofit side of the world has been hurt very badly in COVID, and we've got a lot of resuscitating to do on this stuff. Some organizations have gone by the wayside. They're gone. They're just they can't recoup here, and others are trying to come out of the ashes here and be the phoenix, be the ones. And Literacy Council, like, hey, we got the resources in place. We just need the people. We need the volunteers. We need the people in need to come back. We need all of that stuff. So reach out. Now's the time, especially with schools, kids being behind the 8 ball the last 3 years in school with not being in school or being in a virtual version, or especially these younger kids that now they're in 2nd and 3rd grade before they've ever stepped foot in a classroom. We've got some kids like that. And so things like this, the Literacy Council, are that much more important to focus on because it's going to be things like this that help make up the difference that was lost on some of these folks over the last 3 years.
We found out with working with Challenge that guys and girls drop out of high school. And it starts back in the 3rd or 4th grade when they can't do math or they can't read. You get to be about middle school, you're a dummy in class. Pretty soon you get in high school and say, what the heck, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is emotional embarrassment.
Sure.
And if you can catch them earlier, which I congratulate grammar schools, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
You can get out of the 6th grade knowing math and reading, you've done pretty good. You have a good head start on the rest of the
Absolutely.
life.
Yeah. It's not that they don't have the ability to learn it. It's just it's the social side of it. You're not where you're supposed to be. There's ridicule, embarrassment. There's that feeling of insuperiority and all of that stuff. And that's what's dampering it. We got to put all that aside and said, I don't care. And that's what Literacy Council, I don't care if you're 75 years old.
That's right. As you get older, you can contribute somewhere. Just got to find it.
And if you're in need, I don't care. 80, you can't read, now's a great time to start doing it. But if you're still walking this earth, living and breathing, then you still got time to make yourself a better person.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good deal. Well, Larry, as always, appreciate the visit. And like I said, we'll see you here next time. We'll definitely, as we get closer to September date here, we'll get fast and furious on getting people to sign teams up. And love to have a problem where you run out of tables at the to run out of tables to put teams at.
I think our limit is 40, but we could probably squeeze some, put one of them in the men's room.
Yeah, we could. We get we put them in the cheap seats if we need to. Well, thank you, Larry. As always, we'll see you next time.
You bet.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Today we're going to give you the 5th key to a great marriage, taken from Drs. Les and Leslie Perot. Hi, this is Pastor Troy and Julie Smotherman for The Joy of Marriage. The fifth key is commitment. Living the love you promised.
Galatians 6:9 says, "And let us not get tired of doing what is right, for after a while we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't get discouraged and give up." You know, one of the keys to commitment is just deciding in your heart, I'm never giving up on God, I'm never giving up on my marriage, I'm never giving up on my family.
Commitment is a promise made and kept by two imperfect people. It's good for our kids to see that problems happen and we're committed to solving them together.
If you want all 5 keys to a great marriage, you can go to our website at jomconference.com.
Roswell's home for talk radio is 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Ukrainian forces hanging tough in the face of a continuing Russian assault on the southern port city of Mariupol. The Ukrainian defenders refuse to surrender even as the city is surrounded by the Russians. Lviv has endured multiple missile strikes today, with Ukrainian officials reporting at least 7 civilian deaths.
I counted 5 explosions across the city centre this morning. I saw a couple of missiles myself and heard a sound like jets overhead around 40 minutes after another air raid alert. Thick black smoke was rising from the city's skyline. Local officials say 3 military facilities were hit, along with a car garage. They say 6 people are so far known to have died. 8 have been injured, but emergency teams are still responding, and there's another air raid alert here. There have been renewed attacks on other Ukrainian cities, and in Mariupol, an advisor to the mayor said Russian forces have announced they'll stop anyone entering or leaving the city from today.
And that is the BBC's Dan Johnson in Lviv. Today is a day an indoor mask mandate back in effect in Philadelphia. Face coverings required in all indoor public spaces, places like restaurants and theaters. The mandate returns amid a surge of COVID-19 cases. A lawsuit has been filed in a bid to overturn the renewed mask requirement. If the GOP fails to win a 230-seat majority in the House in the midterms, will be hard for Republicans to govern. That, according to outgoing GOP Congressman Fred Upton of Michigan on NBC's Meet the Press. He says Congressman Kevin McCarthy may not become Speaker without that number of Republican seats. On Wall Street this hour, stocks are mixed. They opened lower earlier. Right now, the Dow is up a fraction, while the NASDAQ down 60 points, and the S&P is off 6 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Mother's Day is coming, and so is the challenge. What do you give the mom that gave you everything? This Mother's Day, give the gift of a lifetime of memories, digitized forever. Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Nick. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago to simplify preserving footage of mom's wedding, your first steps, and all the milestone moments that made your mom, mom.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box to convert those meaningful moments.
Legacy Box is simple, safe, and affordable. Simply fill your Legacy Box with photos, film, and tapes. Our team of experts will do the rest.
Not to mention, you'll get back your originals and new digital copies on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud, ready to relive and share for generations.
Make your mom feel extra special this Mother's Day with what Real Simple calls the perfect gift.
Visit legacybox.com/LBox to get early access to our Mother's Day sale. That's legacybox.com/LBox for an unbelievable deal. legacybox.com/LBox.
File your tax returns yet? If not, the experts say at this point it might be best to file for an extension rather than rushing your returns.
Today is tax day, the federal deadline for individual tax filings and payments, and the IRS expects to receive tens of millions of last-minute filings electronically and through paper forms. The IRS has received more than 103 million returns for this tax season, and it had issued more than 63 million refunds worth more than $204 billion. Nina Tross, executive director of the National Society of Tax Professionals, said that if people haven't filed taxes by now, quote, they're better off filing an extension. But people don't realize that filing an extension has zero effect as long as they have paid their income taxes by tax day. Bernie Bennett reporting.
2 Palestinian men critically injured by Israeli forces in the West Bank earlier today. The latest incident in a wave of Israeli-Palestinian violence during the month of Ramadan. News and analysis at townhall.com. There's a manhunt underway in western Pennsylvania following a deadly mass shooting. It left 2 young people dead over the weekend.
Police say shots fired at a house party in Pittsburgh early Sunday killed 2 17-year-olds and wounded at least 8 other people. Pittsburgh Police Chief Scott Schubert says hundreds of people, the vast majority of them minors, had gathered at a short-term rental property when some kind of altercation happened and shots were fired shortly after midnight. Schubert adds there was gunfire both inside and outside the rental home and potentially back and forth. He added bullet casings found at the scene indicated handguns and 1 rifle were used. No arrests were immediately made. I'm Shelley Adler.
3 people have died from COVID-19 in Shanghai, the first reported deaths in the latest outbreak in China's most populous and wealthiest city. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. Leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The Deuce.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to it. Hope
Yes,
your
sir.
Monday's going well.
Oh, yeah.
At least it's warm out.
It is. It is. The wind still whipping.
It is. It's spring in New Mexico.
It is, yeah.
And after last week's wind, this don't seem so bad.
Nah.
You're just like, it's fine. It's not so bad.
Yeah.
But it's going to be like 80s and 90s all week.
Still waiting for those April showers, by the way.
Yeah, not seeing so much of that. Get teased a lot.
Yeah.
Get cloudy. You're like, well, maybe. And then nothing. So.
Just a little tickle.
Hopefully, we'll see moisture. There's no talk of it at all for the next week.
Yeah.
At least right now.
If you want moisture, you got to make your own.
There you go. Stay outside, sweat.
Right. Need moisture right here? Nope. I make my own.
That's right.
Thank you. I always thought you were a shiny fella.
There you go. Well, I hope everyone had a happy Easter weekend. I did watch some TV.
Yeah?
I did. I seen the newest Julia. I'm all caught up on Julia.
Nice.
The show's all right. It's kind of a good couples show. And you have to, like, I grew up in the era of Julia Childs.
Sure.
So I was a child, and, you know, when she made it famous, so to speak. And so it's kind of neat for me, someone of my age, that even though I was a young child, kind of watched her career.
Right.
And, you know, and now you're seeing it like, wow, she's, you know, bigger deal than you kind of think of sometimes.
For my generation, it was always the joke. Like, she was always it was the parody.
Yeah.
There was a lot of parody, a lot of Julia Childs, you know, a lot of like high-pitched cooking parodies.
Yeah.
Back then, they were like, you know, just making fun of the Julia Childs thing.
But in all honesty, in all fairness, every single celebrity chef on the planet needs to pay homage to Julia Childs, because they wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for her. She was the person that brought cooking to the masses and brought like people's interest in cooking shows. Like, and the show does a good job of, you know, she's,
the show kind of picks up where she's already famous,
right?
For her cookbooks. She wrote her and her partner, promoting French cuisine for everybody, and so she was already the story. The TV show picks up where she's already famous for that.
Okay,
but she ends up as a guest on one of the PBS shows. A gentleman who deals with intellectual types, authors, and award-winning, Nobel Prize winners, Pulitzer Prize winners, people of that stature. And then Julia Childs comes on, and she cooks an omelet and this guy literally just has like 2 chairs on the table, and she borrows one of the producer's hot plates and makes an omelet on the show. And this guy's like a befuddled, learned man who's like, and she's like, whoa, and then he eats the omelet, likes it. And so, and anyway, that causes that got 25 responses, which for PBS was like, wow, people watched it. And now all of a sudden they give her a show. And so, and everyone's against it, thinking, because the people at PBS are thinking Julia Child's cooking show is like salacious garbage TV. It's not enlightened TV like what they're doing with bringing you, this 12th century literature expert to talk on this. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
it's lowbrow.
Yeah. And so Julia Child came in, but it turns out people were liking it. Women, men, everyone's kind of, and of course this is back in the 60s where it's still, a lot of the mindset of the woman's place is in the home kind of thing. And so she, so she gets popular with women because the guys are like, hey, my wife needs to cook like you.
Right.
And so that's kind of how it turns into a thing. But but in actuality, your Rachel Ray's, all these folks, they have a career today because Julia Child was the one that broke
the roadmap that showed you it's not just making a meal, it's also the personality behind it. It's telling the stories. It's one of my favorite chefs online to watch is this guy Josh on Mythical Kitchen.
Yeah.
Because what he does is while he's cooking, he always talks about how this dish or whatever the thing he's making, or the ingredients that he's harkening back to his childhood, or remind him of certain things, or he tells a story based on some of the ingredients and that's what keeps you in.
Yeah, and I think a lot of younger people today and folks, they think Julia Child, they think, oh, she's like an aristocratic, to get the proper flambe, you got
Dickens out of myself.
And she talks like that, but in actuality, she pushed the envelope a lot. Like she lived in a world where everyone was very, and then she was doing this cooking show, and she's very, professional and very has a very professional air about her, I guess you could say. But in actuality, she's slipping in jokes, she's doing stuff, and there's a lot of innuendo and a lot of jokes, and you're like, whoa. So she was kind of a woman who didn't know her place a little bit in that. You know what I mean? That was the mindset. So there was a pushback of the conservative types that were kind of like, she's a heathen, saying, and so young people who look at her today and be like, oh my goodness, she's such a stodgy this and that. And I'm like, to be honest, she was kind of one of the trendsetters, one of the ones that what you're seeing today in that world of cooking and let's face it, in the women's movement and all that stuff, she played a role in that stuff, a lot bigger than I think people realize or think. And I think the show does kind of a good job of showcasing that a little bit. So it's worth a check out. I enjoyed it. I think it's a good.
It's on Amazon?
It's on HBO Max.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think of famous people. David Hyde Pierce, if you know Frasier.
Frasier, yeah. He's Niles.
Plays her husband.
Okay.
That's really, there's not a whole lot of, there's a couple of characters that you see in a lot of stuff, like Julie's best friend is a lady that I've seen in Miss Maisel, a couple of other shows, but I don't know her name. She's just one of those character actors you've seen a bunch of stuff as somebody's friend or somebody's this. But David Hyde Pierce is probably the most recognizable name I've seen so far, but I've only seen 5 episodes.
Sure.
But it is really good. The lady who plays Julia, I don't know her as famous, but she nails Julie. I don't know her.
If you're looking for star power, though, we're talking Niles Crane here.
So I've caught up on that. Been watching that. I've been watching Barry on HBO Max too. They're about to release a third season of that. So I've seen the first season, and I'm going to dive into the second season this week. I like it. It's dark. I don't know. I like the people in it.
Right.
What's his name is the main character, and I do this all the time. People's names, I'll know it, and then the next minute, I can't remember his name right now. It's just shooting right out of me. The main character.
Bill Hader.
Yeah. And so Bill Hader's the main guy. Henry Winkler's in it. He's good in it. He plays an acting teacher. And Stephen Root is in it as well. Office Space, the stapler guy. He's been in many, many things. That's one of his more famous roles. News Radio.
Patches O'Houlihan.
No.
No, I'm sorry. That was Rip Torn. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He was in that movie, though.
He was. He was the obscure Sports Weekly guy.
Yes, that's right.
Who kept the magazines, and he had the mail order bride wife who kept saying you were a bit, which she kept doing the loser thing.
Yeah.
And he says, L for love.
That's
Stephen Root.
Yeah.
Yes. But he's in it as well, and it's got good characters. They got kind of stereotypically Russian mafia types,
right?
That sound very stereotypical Russian mafia type, and probably by design because it's a comedy. It's a very dark comedy, but it's pretty funny. It's all right. I don't think my wife would like it, but I like it.
Right.
So
it's not for her necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think she would get into it.
Yes.
She's not into murder humor.
Yeah, not exactly her strong suit. No.
You know what I mean when I say that.
But yeah, no, I'm gonna hopefully check it out eventually. It's one of those dark comedies are kind of a hard sell for me because if it's not like a good example of that is the show 6 Feet Under from years and years ago.
I remember that show.
That was a hard sell for me. I enjoyed an episode or two, but I could never get fully into it.
Yeah,
and I just felt like it was more dramedy than it was comedy.
To be honest, I probably need to watch that more in adult. Like when I was watching that, I was younger and it wasn't my cup of tea per se. I'm thinking now that I'd like to say my palate's evolved a bit in the time I've gotten older. I wonder if I would like it more now. I have to go check that out.
Possibly, yeah. It's maybe one of those that I have to see under modern sensibilities.
Yeah,
but
like certain movies and things that didn't appeal to me as a kid that were. Like Robin Hood, Fishing King, and things like that. At the time I saw it, I was like, it's depressing, man. I don't want to watch it. But now I can appreciate it more. You know what I mean? Movies where I'm thinking Robin Williams and waiting for the yucks, and they weren't there. And Fisher King's one of those. That's one where he plays the mental health. I can't remember. I don't remember all the. It was in the 80s. It was one of his more serious ones. But it's like Dead Poet Society or ones where there's hints of humor, but it's more of a drama.
If you've ever seen the movie What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams, it's definitely not a comedy by any stretch of the imagination. But that's a hard. I can't make it through that movie.
Actually, the creepiest Robin Williams movie I've ever seen.
1 Hour Photo.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the one I've seen.
That's a whack movie.
I've seen it once and I've never seen it again.
Yeah, no, there's no need to. There is no need to see that movie more than once. Yeah. That and Death to Smoochie are two of just the weirdest.
That's a depressing movie.
Yeah, it is.
To me, that's a movie that they tried to be funny when they were just a bunch of depressed people that were trying to be funny, and you're like, are you just trying to work? If we make enough yuck jokes, we'll get out of our own depression here.
Right.
That's what I feel like that movie was, and it's just Ed Norton was even depressing in that movie. Everything. It's an all-star cast and everything. It's just a depressing movie. So no matter how many famous people you put in movies sometimes, don't make it better.
That's a good example of a really dark comedy that maybe missed the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where I sit down, to like watch a show, and then I have like 15 different voices in my head, like, oh, you need to watch this, you need to watch this. I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And so I always end up, I'm like, well, I just
That's why I do
Peacemaker or something.
I do me. I go through and I hear suggestions and I put them on back burners, but at the end of the day, I go through and I'm not going to lie. I'm that old guy in his 40s that treats his Netflix and Amazon Prime just like he uses his TV guide on his thing. I'll go through my Amazon Prime and I'll go through the different categories and scroll through and like, maybe that appeals to me, maybe it doesn't.
Right.
And I'm guessing I'm not the only one that does this, but I look at my on-demand stuff and I treat it the same way. I treat it just like the old person that goes through his guide watching the TV, looking for something to watch on TV. I do the same thing. I've been doing it my whole life. That's how I was ingrained. Sorry, young people. That's just how I learned to watch TV, and that's how I'm going to continue to do it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm indecisive. That's my biggest problem.
Well, I am too, but at the same time, if it's just me, I find stuff. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I would kind of want to check that out. I'll check it out. And I'll go and dig, and I'll watch an episode or half an episode, and if I'm like, this stinks, then I'll move on. I don't know, there's always, if you look at my face or my Netflix or my Prime, there's always 3 or 4 shows that says continue watching, and I'm like, no, I'm not continuing watching.
There's one show that I've tried to start and restart again, and I think I have the suggestion that might make it palatable for me, and that was, you know the story, just start with season 2, because I can't get through season 1 of Schitt's Creek. I can't get through season 1 of that show, and I can't really put my finger on it, but everybody keeps telling me it gets better in season 2.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, maybe I just need to start at season 2.
I've tried it once, and I got about a half dozen episodes and lost interest.
Right. That's kind of where I was at, too.
I never picked it up.
That's kind of where I was at, too, but I've heard a lot of people say that it gets incredibly entertaining.
And maybe I need to give it. And my wife and I have said we need to try again.
And I've said the same thing about Arrested Development, several other shows, but specifically Arrested Development. If you really want to enjoy that show, maybe skip into like the middle of season 1. Watch the first couple episodes to kind of get a base of the story, but then go to season 2. And season 2 and 3 are that show's golden era. Like the best episodes of the entire series are in 2 and 3.
There you go. Yeah.
Sean Small seal of approval.
There you go. Ding. Let me give you the rundown for this hour of the show. We're going to get you up to date with the weather here in just a bit. And then last week we had Aaron Baylock join us with the Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District, the PVACD. And he joined us to tell us what the PVACD is all about. They're also hiring, talking about well plugging, all that stuff. So we're going to play that interview for you here in just a few. Later on, we'll get you up to date with the news of the local variety along with town hall business and whatever else we can come up with for this hour of the show. Before we do anything else, let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Our daytime highs going on a warming trend over the next couple of days as low pressure develops over eastern New Mexico. Sunshine today and about 80 to 85 on our afternoon high. A few clouds overnight down to the upper 50s and breezy, and then we'll get a mix of sunshine and clouds on Tuesday. Looks like upper 80s. Then by Wednesday, we'll hit the low 90s with sunshine. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 56 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity's at, I didn't scroll high enough. My apologies. I'm going to scroll up high. There we go. Humidity's at 17%. Winds currently out of the north at 17 miles per hour. Increasing clouds today with a high of 84. Winds will be out of the north 10 to 15 this morning, 15 to 20 for the afternoon. Tonight, mostly cloudy with an overnight low of 55. Southeast winds 15 to 20. Partly cloudy for you Tuesday with a high near 90. South winds 15 to 20. Partly cloudy tomorrow night, overnight low of 56. West winds 10 to 20. Then for the rest of the week, sunny on Wednesday with a high of 94. Winds will be out of the west, 15 to 20 for the afternoon. Sunny Thursday with a high of 94. Friday, sunny skies and a high of 94. Windy, a term they use. And then the weekend, 84 on Sunday, Saturday, 84 on Sunday. Sunny on Sunday as well. All right, it is 22 minutes after 8 o'clock. We're going to take a 3-minute break, and then our interview with Aaron from the PVACD on the other side. Don't go away. The Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District is looking for a qualified field technician to join their team. The PVACD conserves the waters of the Roswell Artesian Basin with lands located in both Chavez and Eddy counties. Please visit their website at pvacd.com for requirements and job qualifications or for more information on this great career opportunity. Resumes can be submitted at the PVACD office located at 2303 East 2nd Street in Roswell. The Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District is an equal opportunity employer.
When you think of home health care here in Roswell, what's the first thing that pops into your head? That's right, Frontier Medical. We've been doing it better than anyone else for over 20 years. From in-home nursing to physical therapy and so much more. Doctors and hospitals from Albuquerque to Lubbock and everywhere in between have been trusting their patients to us here at Frontier Medical. So when it's time to make a choice, remember Frontier Medical. 575-627-1112. Frontier Medical. Name to remember.
right, let's get out the old grocery list here. Let's see, eggs, milk, bread, insurance. I don't want to shop for insurance.
Fortunately, you don't have to. George Gandy Insurance is here for you, shopping and comparing rates from different insurance carriers to save you money, time, and hassle. Visit a George Gandy Insurance location near you today.
We keep you covered. George Gandy Insurance.
For people suffering with joint pain, simple movement feels like just taking a step feels like, and lifting your arm can feel like. Don't let joint pain be in charge of your life. The skilled orthopedic experts at Loveless Medical Group SCORE are helping more people take back their lives with some of the most advanced surgeries in the region. We're doing more than restoring joints, we're restoring lives. Call Loveless Medical Group SCORE today at 575-625-3300 so life can feel like, ah.
Crack the vault and save this month at Roswell Honda. For 6 amazing days, prices slashed across the lot to save you thousands. Plus, get a 12-pack of soda and a trip to Mexico just for stopping by, a $15 gas gift card with a test drive, and a car detailing kit with purchase. And crack the vault for the chance to win cash. Then join Roswell Honda April 23rd from 10 to 1 for free food and drinks and your chance to win big. Vault in and win. April 18th through the 23rd at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd. Make your home a smart home with smart home Wi-Fi from Plateau. Now you can connect more devices to fast, reliable Wi-Fi throughout your home. That means faster speeds with no downtime or lag. Enhance your connection, expand your reach, and experience whole home device control and protection with Plateau. Plateau offers true fiber with options starting as low as $60 a month, all with no caps and no hidden fees. Call today, 575-755-1000, or stop by 1001 South Main in Roswell. Get smart home Wi-Fi today from Plateau. Tried, true, trusted.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. During your lifetime, you'll produce enough saliva to fill 2 swimming pools. Spit out this bit of information at your next pool party. Here's Mike Winters.
And joining us in studio here this morning is Aaron Bullock. Did I get it?
You're pretty close, yeah.
Close enough.
Bullock.
Close enough for government work?
Yep, absolutely.
Very good. Joining us this morning, he's from the Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District.
You nailed that one.
Good deal. Which, first of all, good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I guess we'll probably start at what the PVACD does, and it deals with water. I think that part we can figure out from the title there. But kind of give us some background about what the Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District is all about.
Sure. The Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District, you can abbreviate that with PVACD. It was created in 1932.
Okay.
And in the documentation that created the district, the legislation that authorized the court order that created us.
Yeah.
Basically, our mission and purpose is to conserve the waters of the Pecos Valley.
Gotcha.
And so that's this real simple directive that is kind of all-encompassing.
Gotcha.
And the reason it was created is because the people of the Roswell area realized that because we have this artesian aquifer here, that was worth protecting. It was worth investing in. And so the PVACD has played an active role in conserving our water ever since. One of the big things that we do is we own and we maintain a water meter on all the wells within the valley.
Okay.
And so, you can't have an accurate accounting of how much water you're using unless you can meter it. And so
gotcha.
That's part of our responsibility.
Gotcha.
Another big thing that we do, and we've been doing since we were created, the year the district was created, they lobbied for $20,000 from the legislature, and that money was spent to plug abandoned wells.
Okay.
And again, that goes back to protecting the aquifer.
Sure.
And for those who don't know what an artesian aquifer is, all that means is it's a body of water that's in the ground, and it's confined and it's under pressure. And so when you drill down to it, that water is going to come up towards you.
You're releasing the pressure.
And that's really unique. And so we don't want to lose that pressure.
Sure.
And so if you've got a well that was drilled, in the 20s or earlier.
Sure.
And
that's a potential place for that pressure to leak out.
Sure, that casing can deteriorate over time. It rusts and then it starts leaking. And it may not be running out at the surface, but it can leak up into the shallow aquifer, and we want to try and prevent that. So
Okay.
That's a big part of what we do. When anytime we find an abandoned well, we've got a drilling rig. We will set up on it. We will clear the hole down
Okay.
to that clay layer, and we will plug it so that those two aquifers can't communicate. So that's a big part of what we do.
Okay. Now, and this is where I probably should have done better in science class. But when you look at the pressure, is that what keeps the water flowing, so to speak, that underwater, where it's, obviously the rivers and things is that pressure help keep the water coming to this aquifer, basically keeping the water system moving the way it should?
The easiest way to think about it is taking a water bottle and squeezing it.
Okay.
The water's flowing in at an angle. Imagine it coming from Rio Doso, and it's running downhill, and at some point it goes under a layer that won't let it go up, and so that water behind it is pushing down on it.
Okay.
And we're lower in elevation down here. You drill a hole that gravity is pushing that water down and creating pressure to push it up at the lower elevation where you drill the hole.
Gotcha.
And so gravity works.
Now, does the water that feeds these underground, is it the rainwater that we get in the mountains that comes down the mountains and goes, is that basically what that supplies these aquifers?
We refer to it as a karst aquifer.
Okay.
And what that means is if you imagine a sponge, that's what the rock layer looks like, a sandstone formation. And so the water's able to move through it really easily. There's a lot of holes in it, as opposed to imagining a granite rock where water can't move through it.
Gotcha.
So you've got this
porous and
real
not porous.
porous formation. The fancy word for it is transmissivity.
Okay.
That's how readily the water moves through it. And that's why we're able to have these high production wells pump a lot of gallons per minute.
Okay.
Is because the water can rush in to meet that as you're pulling it out.
I catch
And
it.
so we've got such a tremendous aquifer here. The formation, the way it recharges, that's the beauty of it. Is unlike most areas, we're not mining the water.
Gotcha.
And when I say mining, you can use that. Imagine mining coal.
Sure.
When the coal's gone,
You're down there digging, looking for little streams and whatnot.
Once it's gone, it's gone, because you're not making anymore. And that's the way most of the well, I won't say most, a lot of the groundwater is in this state. It's really old water.
Mm-hmm.
The recharge rate is really slow. Unlike here, where when we have these big storm events, our aquifer levels jump up because we've got this ability to take that water in quickly, and we have a rapid recharge. And so it's just a really dynamic system, and that's what has allowed us to do what we do for so long.
Which is, I'm assuming, one of the lucky reasons. Like you look here in Roswell, in this area, and you don't hear, like during the summer when the drought conditions, you're not hearing radio stations and TV stations telling you that you can only water your lawns every other day of the week or whatever, like you hear in Albuquerque and these other parts. And it's mainly because of this aquifer we got sitting underneath us. Obviously, that doesn't mean we can't abuse it and just start running up the streets shooting water guns everywhere. But you know what I mean? But at the same time, we're not in dire straits like other parts of the state where some seasons are like, are we going to have enough water to get through the season here? And we don't have those issues.
Absolutely, and that's kind of a blessing and a curse.
Yeah,
I'm a little bothered by the fact that other parts of the world do such a better job at what we call the per capita use.
Sure,
because they're really working to use less water, and because we've never had to worry about it.
Not a problem for us.
Right.
So
it's not a problem, but the unfortunate byproduct of that is we have a lower consciousness of what's going on with our water.
Sure.
And that's one of the things we hope to start addressing is
we need to be better
make
stewards.
people stop and think about what we're doing. And we've got such a good resource, we don't want to take that for granted. And
Sure.
I think it would help if we can start engaging people in a way that they're aware of what the condition of our aquifer is. We're in the process right now of trying to take the training wheels off of a telemetry program, which will allow us, we have 10 monitor wells in the valley, and we've been reading those since the 30s.
Okay.
And so we read them 3 times a month. We can tell you where our water levels are at. And we put this system in that now we're going to be able to read them once a day. And so, and we could read them much more frequently than that. That's just the least amount I could select to read them.
Sure.
But that there's going to be a tremendous amount of data coming in, and we want to make that accessible. And we want people to be interested in that there, so that they can look and see what the condition of the aquifer is. And we go through these dramatic cycles. We've seen the aquifer in much worse shape than it is right now. We've seen it in much better shape. In my mind, it's not a crime for us to strain the aquifer. When it's dry, that's what it's there for. We're able to use it. And because it will recharge when we do get inflows, I don't worry too much about that. But we do need to be working on ways we can be more flexible and a little more reactive to changing conditions. And, you hear a lot of talk about the federal government's buzzword of the decade is climate change. And I look at that from the perspective, we've been preparing for climate change for decades. We've always just referred to them as long-term drought.
Right.
But
we live in a desert.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my hot button phrases there is normal weather patterns. The Roswell area doesn't have a normal weather pattern.
Yeah, that's the normal part. The normal part is it's not normal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Normal's a setting on your dishwasher, not our weather around here. We have what we call a really flashy system, and that means we get those big, strong storm events, but we're able to utilize those rapid inflows. And the highest compliment I've heard was from a hydrogeologist that once told me that he said, if you guys can keep doing what you've been doing, you, unlike most of the state, have an infinite water supply.
Nice.
And if you stop and think about that, there's a big if in there. But what we've been able to do is we've been able to balance our withdrawals with our inflows.
It's a system where it meets the needs but doesn't. It basically balances perfectly. We take what we need, it replenishes what we take, and it works very well together.
Right.
So.
And so these monitor wells that we've updated here, that's going to allow people to be able to see where our aquifer's at. I'm a little bit envious of the San Antonio area. The people down there are very aware. They're on what's called the Edwards Aquifer.
Okay.
And you can talk to people on the street, and they know what the Edwards Aquifer is. And that wasn't an accident. That was because the people that are in charge of managing that realized that they had to have public buy-in. People had to understand why they were doing the things that they were doing to keep that water flowing through San Antonio. That's all water that comes from the Edward Aquifer. So when you go down to the Riverwalk, the fact that there's water in that river isn't an accident. It was done through a lot of hard work and a lot of money spent to make all that possible. And the people are willing to do that if they understand what's happening and where all that's going.
Maybe the soldiers in the Alamo knew that, and that's the real reason they're at the Alamo, not
That's
to
right.
protect that water line.
It's truly a fight over water.
Exactly. But yeah, definitely. So let me ask this. Speaking of Texas, do you guys get involved when it comes to the water rights with Texas and distributing it? And
Absolutely.
I mean, is this aquifer that one of those vessels that gets the water that whatever treaties we made with Texas back in the day, we owe meeting those obligations and all that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The state of New Mexico is obligated to deliver water to Texas on the Pecos River under what we refer to as the Pecos Compact.
Okay.
One of the little ticklish parts of that was when they sat down and come up with the terms of the deal, they referred to the flow of the river, and they picked a year that they thought was a good representative of what the average is.
Okay.
And so you'll see the term the 47 condition.
Okay.
And that was a little bit hard to live up to because, again, we don't have a normal system. We don't have an average. So it's really difficult.
When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad.
Exactly.
That's what we got.
So we got in a little trouble with Texas. Texas wasn't real happy with us because we weren't giving them the water they thought they needed. And so when one state gets angry at another state, they sue. And the Supreme Court is the one who hears that. And so they took us to the Supreme Court, and we had a big fight about it, and we lost. And so what the Supreme Court essentially told us was, here's the deal, New Mexico. You never, ever get to underdeliver to Texas again. We're going to let you pay a fine and clean the slate a little
Sure.
bit here, but you can't underdeliver again. If you do, a federal water master is going to come up the river and stop every drop of water going anywhere until Texas gets all of their water.
Gotcha. So feds are saying if you can't distribute it right, then we're going to come in and do it.
We're going to turn it
like,
off. Yep.
You're not going to like the way we do it.
And so New Mexico's back was against the wall, and we scrambled to come up with a system to be able to deliver to Texas. Now, I'm not getting the numbers exactly right, but essentially we owe Texas half of the water that comes in. I think it's actually 57%. But
wow. Did we lose a card game or something? How did that happen?
It's not a problem when we've got water, as long as we've had water for a while. And it's not a problem when we don't have any water, because half of nothing is zero. So where we stand to get in trouble is when we go to what you would call a normal year, coming out of a real dry spell. So most of our water is stored upstream from here at Fort Sumner and at Santa Rosa.
Okay.
So imagine those two reservoirs get filled up next week, and we haven't had any rain for a year. We're going to have to let that water go up there and hope that half of it gets to Texas. And that's probably not going to happen, because you've got all of that bank storage. You have to resaturate the river.
Sure.
So that's where we stand. You know, we have the potential to get in trouble. The good thing that come out of that Supreme Court case was we're able to accrue a credit.
Okay.
And so New Mexico has done a really good job of building a credit with the state of Texas. So we have over 100,000 acre-foot credit with them.
So if it truly gets a little bone dry for us, we've got some insurance there.
Yeah, so when we get that, our reservoirs are 3/4 of the way full, and we've got to give Texas half of their water, we can release half of that water, knowing that that half isn't going to get to Texas, and use up some of that credit.
Gotcha.
And in the scramble to meet that demand, we put in what's called the augmentation well field. There's wells in Lake Arthur and at Seven Rivers south of Artesia, right there at Brantley, and we're able to pump groundwater into the river. We call it augmenting the flow of the river, so we can put some water in the river for deliveries to Texas. And Carlsbad is also a beneficiary of that. The Carlsbad Irrigation District, when there's not enough water in the reservoirs, we're able to turn on those pumps and provide a little water for them.
Gotcha.
So,
just
very expensive.
Just gee whiz curious. I mean, is there any foreseeable future where this agreement gets reassessed and looked at? Based on what we can actually provide and things? I mean, or is Texas's needs basically they need every percentage of that water? Because I'm just curious, is there ever going to be a change in that balance, in your opinion, where maybe we don't have to give them as much, or they look at the ratios there and adjust a little bit?
It's theoretically possible.
Yeah.
New Mexico could go back to the Supreme Court and say, we want you to look at that again.
Yeah.
And I think I said 57%. And I think it's 47% is what.
Either way, that's still about half.
About half.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because we have gotten ourselves where we have that substantial credit now, and so when we get in trouble or on those years where we have a little bit of a wet spell that follows a dry spell, and so it's not like, well, every year it's dry, we're looking at under delivering. When it's dry, we give them half of what we can give them.
Gotcha.
And it's not that big of a deal. And so with the credit we've been able to accrue, and the state of New Mexico spent about $100 million to get us to this point. So it didn't just happen overnight, and it certainly wasn't cheap. But with the combination of fallowing land, land was fallowed within the PVACD and within the Carlsbad Irrigation District. Carlsbad uses just almost exclusively surface water, river water, whereas up here we use mostly groundwater.
Okay.
But nonetheless, we were able to make those sacrifices. The land that was purchased in the Carlsbad Irrigation District, when we don't have a credit, that water is delivered to Texas. So instead of putting it on a farm, it goes to Texas to meet that demand towards Texas. But then when we build up a big enough credit, well, then Carlsbad Irrigation District is able to use that water locally. So
gotcha.
We're in pretty good shape with Texas. We still got to figure out what we do with Carlsbad when we don't have enough water to go around.
Gotcha.
And that's a persistent problem, and it's something we're sure working on.
Gotcha. So in a nutshell, this is why you hear the old saying, whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting.
Absolutely.
Because of all what's going on here.
There's plenty of whiskey. There's not near enough water.
Yeah, exactly here. But one thing we did, much like in the COVID world, everybody's looking for employment and looking for top quality folks to be a part. And the Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District is right now. You guys are looking for some experts in the field to be a part of the team and to help maintain and regulate these water issues we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes.
Absolutely. We're looking for what we call a field technician. That's kind of a catch-all term.
Okay.
This will be one of the field staff. Spend a lot of time in the field working on meters. As I said, it's our job. We own the meters, and it's our job to maintain them. It's our goal to visit every single meter in the valley every year. We pull it out of line. We look everything over. We replace anything that's worn on it so that we get an accurate read on the water that's used.
Sure.
That's what this person will be doing, and then they'll be working on our drilling rig while we're plugging abandoned wells. And
Very good.
That leads me to my primary, secondary, I should say, point here is that this is an opportunity for the public to help us. If you come across a well on your property,
please report it to us.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Most of the time, we will plug that well at no cost to the landowner. There's just rare exceptions to that where we wouldn't. Landowners are obligated by state law to plug any well that they don't have in service, that's not being used.
But if you have to plug it with some unique method that costs like crazy amount of money, then maybe they're going to have to get involved.
Well, there's some possibilities with contamination and things like that where it would be beyond the scope of what we're comfortable doing.
They're going to get some of their people in.
Right, and most areas of the state, if there's a well, and every now and then you hear about it on the news where little Johnny fell down a well, and that's a real threat, especially on these old irrigation wells. They're 16 inches in diameter or larger on some of them.
Sure.
There's certainly the ability for something to fall down there.
Kids are curious, absolutely.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and so that's one of the reasons we want to plug that. That's one of the reasons you're required by law. And it's expensive, and we pay for that, so it's not an expense to the landowner.
Yeah, or even we hear kids earlier, but it's some of it's shifting to drug addicts looking for metals and stuff, and they're crawling into places that they shouldn't be, and they're going, oh, there's a hole, maybe there's some metal down there, and we just had someone stuck in a well. It was a month or so ago, looking for metals and stuff.
Right,
so
right.
yeah, it happens.
Right, and then from our perspective, we don't want any contaminations to be able to get down the well. So if it's a shallow well, what we call a domestic well, like you would have on your house there, if that's a well that's not being used anymore, there's still an opportunity for somebody to throw something down there. Rodents could get down there during flood events there. Things can wash down there that we don't want in our drinking water. So we want to seal that off. And then if it's an artesian well, like I said, we want to seal off that communication.
Keep that
so it's
pressure
not
and everything.
losing that pressure. Absolutely.
Interesting. Is your website probably the best place to steer people for information about the jobs, about getting a hold of you, about if reporting wells, things like that? That's probably the quick or the easiest way to get to you guys.
Sure. There's three ways you can get a hold of us.
Okay.
Our web address is pvacd.com.
Yeah.
It's not complicated. If you can just remember the alphabet that goes in the front there.
Yeah. And PV, Pecos Valley, that's, you got about a 50% chance
Exactly.
of getting half
You got
the things
half
around here
of it
with
right
that
there.
Yeah, exactly. So.
And then if you want to come by our office is at 2303 East 2nd Street.
Yeah.
So we're easy to find there. And then, or you can give us a call. Our phone number is 622-7000. So people can give us a call. But if you go to the website, all the other information is there, and we can.
Yeah, when you're on the east side of 2nd, getting Cowboy Cafe and all that, doing all your things, swing on over and say hi at the office.
Absolutely.
And like you said, if you are interested in becoming, working for the Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District, it's a great opportunity. Come in, apply, get your applications. You can fill through the website, everything there, and come in person and visit and see, hey, maybe this is, your next career opportunity. So now is this are you guys like part of a government agency? So you guys are government employees and everything. So with that comes the benefits, you get with the government. So if you're looking for a career with the benefits, the retirement plan, the whole nine that you get with county, city, state. That's one thing that's one thing the government can always do. Like, they can't always compete with the oil field guys when it comes to the numbers and they can make money. But when it comes to the stability and the raising a family, all the things you look for, your retirement plans, your 401ks and stuff, they do a pretty good job of taking care of you on that side of things. So if you have, of course, Aaron, you can fill them in and all that stuff. But if you're looking for a career that is the type to raise a family on, this is what we're talking about here.
Absolutely.
This is stuff because, well, I mean, obviously you're looking for skilled people that are experts in this industry. This isn't going to be one of those folks that rolls off the street and says, "Hey, I think I do this water thing. I got it." You know what I mean?
Right. And if we got a minute, I'll brag on the district a little bit. We are what's considered a political subdivision of the state.
Okay.
And so we're funded through an ad valorem tax. If you live within the valley here, chances are you pay our wages.
Okay.
And so we all serve at the pleasure of a 5-member board of directors, elected board of directors. And it's an excellent place to work. The board understands what we're doing. They're really eager to make sure that we have the tools that we need to be able to do our job effectively. Sure. They push us to do better. I don't think there's anyone over there at the district who doesn't recognize what a unique place it is to work.
Yeah.
Because you have that support. Our board understands us and wants us to do well and gives us the tools to do well.
Yeah.
And in that vein, we've been planning it for almost 10 years now, and we finally broke ground. We're building a new facility over there, a new shop, a new office space. We've been in that one there since the 60s. So it's
about due for a new place.
We've got our utility out of it, I think. We're not going to
They still got Kennedy picture on the wall. They haven't taken that off. I'm just kidding.
Nixon, actually.
That's pretty good.
But no, it's a great place to work. They take care of us, and like you said, it's a good opportunity for somebody that's looking for a career and not just a job.
Absolutely, here too, and like you said, and here's the cool part: you get to it's every day's new because you could be at one end of the county or the Pecos Valley, and then next day you're off at a different part on a different piece of property doing the same thing.
Absolutely. The district runs from about 20 miles north of Roswell all the way down to Brantley. They're at Seven Rivers, just north of Carlsbad.
All right.
And so right down the bottom of the valley, about 20 miles wide.
Up and down 285,
right?
You got it all down there.
Absolutely. And so, like you said, every day there's something new. We're addressing different problems in different areas all the time. When we're doing plugging operations, it's hard work, but it's also kind of fun because it's no matter how good you think you're getting at it, you always encounter something that you can't have anticipated.
Sure.
We end up with collapsed wells and wells that have collapsed with pumps in them. And so we have to deal with all of that, and we have shifting conditions below ground there, so you just absolutely anything you can imagine could go wrong often does.
Absolutely.
And so it's something that keeps us on our toes, and we've got an excellent crew over there. Our driller is phenomenal and really has a good understanding of what we can expect when we set up on a well to drill. And so it's like you said, it's something new and exciting every day. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, one thing I know, when you try to predict Mother Nature or try to circumnavigate Mother Nature, you're going to lose every time.
Absolutely.
You're going to lose every time.
All we can do is add to the knowledge that we have, and knowing that we're never fully going to understand it. I've offended more than one hydrologist when I tell them we get about 10 feet or more below ground. Nobody really knows what's going on down there.
Sure.
We're just all guessing, and that's what we have to do. We have to take the knowledge that we have and try and extrapolate and imagine what could be going on down there. And, so yeah, it's certainly interesting.
I would imagine too, in the future as science and everything changes and equipment changes, that'll give you better pictures of that kind of stuff. I don't know if they've got some kind of weird sonar type things where you can kind of read the stuff before you start drilling and stuff. And I'm sure there's some of that technology in existence, but I'm sure it'll get a whole lot better as time goes on here and accurate and things like that. But till then, it's kind of like, well, we got to dig to find out what's down there, so we're going to see. So,
right. Well,
yeah.
we use a lot of well information. When a well is drilled, the driller keeps a log of what he encounters.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a lot of wells drilled here. And one of the things, a credit to the district, is the district has spent a lot of money with hydrologists to try and better understand what we have here. So
Okay.
we've invested in that knowledge base to try and understand better how the aquifer functions and what the formation looks like. And like you say, we're just working with little pieces of data trying to build a bigger picture of what things look like.
Sure.
And we learn something new pretty regular. And as you said, as technology evolves, a lot of that changes and helps us be better informed.
And it's not true they don't give you those set of the water sticks in each truck, right?
We don't do any witching for water, so no, that's someone else's job.
Gotcha. I was just making sure. I didn't make sure those weren't, standard operating on the truck.
No,
or
that's not
like
standard
that.
equipment.
Yeah, very good. Well, again, if anybody has any questions, want more information, wants to apply, and wants to learn more about career opportunities with the PVACD, please check out the website, www.pvacd.com. You also have a Facebook page, too, if they want to connect there and reach out. Or come by the office. It's on East 2nd, 2303 East 2nd. Come on by. Is it like 8 to 5 Monday through Friday hours?
We start work at 7:30 in the morning. We're there till 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. And there's always someone at the office?
Yep.
So I imagine, like you said, you guys are out in the field or out in a hole somewhere in the middle of the desert. So, very good. Is there anything we missed we wanted to get out there?
Oh, we could literally talk about this all day. It's something that I've become very passionate about.
Yeah.
I see how water issues are evolving, and that's, again, a credit to my board is trying to keep me informed with what's going on elsewhere.
Sure.
I also sit on the Interstate Stream Commission for the state of New Mexico. And so I see the problems that other parts of the world are facing,
Mm-hmm.
and it just gives me a much deeper appreciation for the decisions that have been made here in the past to get us to where we're at now. And so there's a little bit of pressure to not fumble the ball because they've got us this far, absolutely. So we have to keep building on those successes, and if we can keep doing what we're doing, we're way ahead of the curve. When you look to the Colorado River, for example, they've got some real issues that they're going to have to figure out over there. And
we had some smart leaders back in the 30s that kind of said,
Absolutely.
maybe we should nip this in the bud now. And now here we sit in 2022 in pretty good shape. And like you said, my job is just to make sure the next guy has the same condition I got when I handed to him.
Absolutely.
Basically. Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you for the time here. And if nothing else, too, remind us, even us folks that aren't going to be the experts digging wells and things, just because we're in a lucky situation, we still need to be good stewards with the water we have. So just because we're not dealing with the issues they are up north on some of this stuff doesn't mean we should be stupid with the way we handle our water. Please treat it like the precious commodity it is. Don't water unnecessarily. Don't be that person that's got the pond of water going down the street that's not actually watering
that street
things.
won't grow no matter how much water you put on it.
Things like that. If you are going to be watering your lawn, pick those morning times or evening times, the times where you're not going to get most of it evaporating, where you get a larger percentage of it actually getting into the soil there and doing those kind of things. Be good stewards.
Absolutely.
We all do our part that way. It makes his job and make sure our kids have water for the years to come.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Well said.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We'll see you here hopefully next time. I'd love to get you in maybe from time to time. And
I would love to.
I would love to hear fun stories like, yeah, we were out at a well and we found critter X, or we found whatever. I love those kind of stories.
We have plenty of what you discovered when you pulled the meter, because some of the discharges are into a water reservoir. So sometimes creatures crawl up there to seek refuge, and unfortunately, some of them don't make it out, and we're left to deal with that.
The leavings?
Yes, and then our fishing stories. We pull a lot of material out of the well, and so parts of pumps and casing and things like that. There,
it's nothing ever valuable, is it?
No, we've yet to find
gold watches or nothing.
No,
we've
we've yet to find a Rolex down there, but. That interests me just because I'm perpetually amazed that we're able to recover some of that stuff and not hang up our tools and some of the things you worry about when you set up.
I've been looking for that. There it is.
Right.
Wonder where that went. Good as new.
But we'd love to come back and talk to you as things move forward and we start becoming a little more active in the community with some of the things we're in the process of working with the city of Roswell on their water conservation plan, and part of that is going to be raising public awareness about the water. Yeah, and so we'd love to keep you all posted on how things are progressing.
Yeah, to quote the '80s, was it "Don't know what you got till it's gone"? Right,
Absolutely.
That's kind of that's just reminding folks of that.
Benjamin Franklin said, "We don't know the worth of water until the well is dry."
Absolutely.
So we don't want to get to that point.
Yeah, it's just like the city's water department. You don't care about them until your toilet don't flush.
Exactly.
And you care a lot about it all of a sudden. So, well, thank you. Do appreciate it. And we'll see you next time, okay?
We'll see you then.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Even as it prepares for an expected assault on eastern Ukraine, the Russian military has hit the largest city in western Ukraine with multiple missile strikes. The assault blamed for at least 7 civilian deaths.
The Lviv regional governor says there were 4 strikes in all, 3 of which hit military infrastructure facilities, and 1 struck a tyre shop, adding emergency teams were putting out fires caused by the strikes. He said one of the wounded was a child. Plumes of thick black smoke were rising over Lviv after the explosions, which were witnessed by AP staff. The strikes occur as the country braces for an all-out Russian assault in the east of the country. Lviv has been spared much of the worst violence in almost 2 months of war. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
A lawsuit's been filed in a bid to overturn Philadelphia's indoor mask mandate, which returns today. Face coverings required in all indoor public spaces like restaurants and theaters. Well, it's tax day, and if you haven't filed yet, you have a lot of company.
Many scrambling to submit. The National Society of Tax Professionals has some advice. If you haven't filed by now, you're probably better off filing an extension. Executive Director Nina Tross says it has 0 effect as long as filers have paid their income taxes by tax day. Tross warns rushing a return to meet the deadline only to have to amend it later is likely to draw a second look by the IRS. I'm Julie Walker.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy says U.S. weapons and aid shipments to Ukraine came too late. He tells Fox News Sunday that if it had been supplied earlier, Putin's invasion might not have happened. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is up 51 points, the Nasdaq ahead 10, and the S&P trading 7 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I'm about to compare a pepper shaker to a cash-out refinance. Hang with me. You know when you're at a restaurant and they ask, would you like some fresh ground pepper? And then they crank that giant tube, but almost nothing comes out? For me, only a certain amount of time is socially acceptable to wait. I know that getting that pepper out might make my life better, but it just seems too impossible. And that's what we hear people say about the cash-out refinance. People realize that the value of their home has gone up like hot pepper the last few years, leaving all this extra money sitting inside their home. But is it too hard to get out? It's Ryan from United Faith Mortgage. If you're interested in cashing out the extra pepper in your home, we're good at doing all the work while you just sit back and relax. And often, your mortgage payment and years in the loan will stay the same. If you'd like to hear about your options,
we are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Melville Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
The lockdown city of Shanghai reporting its first COVID-related deaths since 2020. 3 elderly unvaccinated people died yesterday.
Officials are saying that all 3 people who died from COVID also had underlying health problems. But there have been questions over 400,000 official coronavirus infections in this outbreak in Shanghai. And until today, there'd been no official deaths, and many people have been asking, how can that be? But if you look at these 3 cases, 2 women aged 89 and 91, and a man aged 91, we're told none of them had been vaccinated. And it does seem to show that China really has dropped the ball when it comes to booster shots.
The BBC's Stephen McDonald. More Israeli-Palestinian bloodshed in the West Bank. 2 Palestinian men critically wounded. News and analysis at townhall.com. The attorney for a man arrested in connection with a mass shooting in South Carolina says his client fired in self-defense. It wasn't the only mass shooting over the weekend. There were several others as well.
2 of the shootings took place in South Carolina, the other in Pittsburgh, where 2 17-year-olds died and at least 8 were wounded. That's after police say shots were fired during a party at a short-term rental property. In South Carolina, authorities are investigating a shooting at a nightclub early Sunday in Hampton County that wounded at least 9 people. And on Saturday, 9 people were shot and 5 people sustained other kinds of injuries while trying to flee the scene at a busy mall in Columbia. I'm Shelley Adler.
A decades-old tradition, the White House Easter egg roll is back this morning, coming back after some time out during the coronavirus pandemic. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. Leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Crazy miracles.
Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday.
Indeed.
Hope everyone had a wonderful Easter weekend.
A restful one, hopefully.
Yeah, good. Got to spend time with family.
Lots of ham consumed, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that officially the official meat of Easter?
I don't know if it's the official meat, but it just seems like it sure got around. I mean, I'm guessing it's probably not in the Jewish households, but
probably not.
In your Protestant Easter celebrating households.
Because I know in Jewish households there's a lot of Easter celebrated.
Well, there's a lot of Passover celebration.
Well, different holiday.
It is different. That was like Friday. But anyways, no. I'm guessing ham is the traditional, because that's what pretty much everybody I talked to had. Is the traditional ham dinner.
I love ham.
I'm a ham fan myself.
I'm a fan of ham. I eat ham all the time.
I had a traditional ham lunch/dinner. It was an early dinner, but a really, really late lunch.
Yeah.
With Misty and her family, and it was delightful.
Nice.
Homemade potato salad, homemade pasta salad.
She did ham.
12-pound ham. Actually, nice. Her mom and grandma, I think, did the ham. She did pretty much everything else.
Okay, she handled the accoutrement.
I went over the day before, and like in most situations, the day before any kind of party, she was frazzled and losing her mind and trying to control 13 different pots of different ingredients.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's insane going into her kitchen sometimes. It always smells fantastic. Yeah. You're never going to know what's like flying past your head at any point in time.
Well, that's what you just show up right when the food's ready.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the glory of all the food and not the hassle of
exactly. You got to pick your spots. You got to know when to show up.
Yeah.
I always show up too early. I end up having to put plastic tablecloths on things.
That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. You do your thing in your way. That's right. Thank you, Sean, for setting up the plastic.
Hey, glad to be here to help.
Glad to be a helper.
Mm-hmm. Lay down the tarp. That's basically what we did. Lay down the tarp on the kids' table.
Right, and then put the trough on top for everybody. But I get it.
I get it. Well, happy. Hope everyone had a happy Easter. Hope it was good. Yeah, mine was great too. I had, like I said, I did the steak and corn. We did beef, and
Beef was what's for dinner.
Yeah. Well, I'm out of propane in my tank, and I forgot to go get some from a grill. So I ended up cooking the steaks on a cast iron skillet and tried it that way. That's the first time I've cooked it that way, where you sear it
in cast iron. Now, okay, did you pan sear it and then put it in the stove in the oven?
That's exactly what I did.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, that's what I did.
That's perfect.
First time I've tried it that way. Usually I just grill steaks on the grill.
Now, do you butter baste also?
Oh, I butter basted the Living Daylights.
The thyme sprig and the garlic and all that?
Well, I went with garlic and mushrooms with it instead of I didn't do the sprig because I didn't have any. I just went with what was in the house.
Do you baste during the sear or do you baste after the oven step?
My mistake was I basted too early.
Really?
I think I should have let it sear more and then baste it before I oven it. I basically should have let it sear more, then then throw
the stuff in.
I mean, yeah, the butter,
end?
because I think the mushrooms got in the way a little bit there of my searing. It's the first time I tried it that way, so I think next time when I do it, I think I'm gonna let them sear a little bit and then add the rest and then let it cook a little bit and then throw it in the oven.
Sure. How thick were the steaks we're talking here?
3/4 inch.
Decent. Okay.
Yeah, they were freebie steaks I got. Well, I say freebie. You know how you always have a relative that gives you the batch of Omaha steaks for Christmas?
No,
or
Mike,
something?
I don't know that relative.
I have a
Must
relative.
be nice though to get free meat every year.
I have. Well,
it's a weird flex, but all right. You know that one. You know how everybody has that one relative that just gives you meat.
Well, it just seems like you get like the pecans or that. Well, I have a relative that
I get what you're saying. The one relative that has an excess of things due to.
Well, I don't even know that. They just send us Omaha
That's
steaks
just their
every year.
thing.
That's like what they do.
That's their signature.
And which is
it's
fine.
It's a good move.
I love it. Now, what they send us is usually like one of those sample packs that you get that's got like one or two good things and a bunch of stuff you really don't want.
I got to ask though, did you get the turnovers?
Yes.
Did you try the turnovers yet?
My wife's all about the turnovers.
They're legit.
Yeah.
Like the Omaha steaks, the apple turnovers they send out or whatever. That with they're so good.
Yeah. Well, basically,
I had one of my friends.
I had steaks, but basically, it gives me cuts of meat that I would never buy.
Sure.
Like at a store. And so I was like, well, these are cuts of meat that I normally wouldn't get. Let's throw them in. Let's experiment with these.
Okay.
So if I screw them up, I don't feel so bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I didn't do it perfect, but it was certainly tasty. It was. I think I wish I seared it more. The flavor was there. I overcooked it in the oven a little bit. It was a little overcooked for me. That I liked it.
If you get enough of a good sear, really, you just have to pop it in the oven for like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, I went about 12 minutes.
Okay.
I should have gone about 8 or 10.
8, probably 8.
Yeah, that was my mistake.
So you got maybe more of like a medium well?
Well, I went about 6 minutes and it was still bloody. And I was like, all right, so let me go. But it looked like, and so I should have went like 4 or 5 instead of another 6. And that's where I screwed up.
Gotcha.
But it tasted fine.
Hey, experiment.
It wasn't my best steak fairing, but it was for first time trying it not on a grill. Because normally I'm like, that meat deserves the grill, and that's where it's going.
Sure.
But I didn't. I forgot to get propane, too lazy to go get it. So.
Well, plus it was Easter. Like everywhere was closed yesterday.
Yeah, so cast iron skillet it was. So. Turned out good, though. And my wife is, that's her baby, the cast iron skillet. So she's like micromanaging me using it, which is kind of annoying, but I get it. That's like her, and she's like, did you do it? Yes, I got it. Stop. Don't forget to take the, I know.
Did you salt it? Yeah.
I know. Stop micromanaging me. I got it. But,
It's to baby that bad boy.
Yeah, it's her baby.
I get it. A good cast iron, man. You could pass that thing down generations.
And ours has got the two, so it's like a deeper one, and then there's the skillet one, which is a lid. So you could use either one. And
it's basically like a Dutch oven.
Yeah, and so I went with the more deeper dished one because of the marshmallows, the mushrooms.
You really know how to mess up a steak.
That's a weird steak, man, because of the mushrooms and everything. I kind of wanted something that's with deeper side.
Nothing sets off the flavor of a well-done steak like some ketchup.
That's right. Delicious.
Chef's kiss right there.
Just some Hunts right all over that. Good stuff, her.
I'm a Heinz man myself, but hey, different strokes for different folks. I get it.
Del Monte, right all over that bad boy. No, it turned out pretty good.
Nice.
Don't go away. We got a great interview this hour. We're going to have some folks join us from Royal Family Kids here in Roswell. Tabitha Denny and Kyla Williams going to join us. Purple Day.
Yes.
It's coming up April 27th. You're like, what is Purple Day? Well, keep listening. We'll learn you on it.
We'll get you informed.
And but we'll talk about Royal Family Kids Camp, of course. If you're not familiar, their thing is they help abused and neglected children here in our area, and their big thing is providing them an awesome summer camp experience. They do a big camp each summer. They go up to the mountains.
I've seen the pictures. It's astonishing.
Yeah.
The stuff these kids get to do.
So it gives these kids that are coming from some pretty rough places some positive experience, positive, in attempts to try to help these kids and show them that life's way better than some of the abuse and neglect they've been dealing with. So they're going to join us and talk about Purple Day. Volunteers, they're looking for camp counselors and everything. So if you'd love to get more involved than just putting on your purple and getting all purpled up and do purple things, we'll talk about other ways you can get involved as well, too. So they'll join us here in just a few. Later on, we'll get you up to date with the news of the local variety along with Town Hall, Wall Street updates, sports, and whatever else we can come up with for this hour of the show.
I was going to leave, but you told me not to go away, so
yeah,
just follow instruction. Can I go? Can I go now?
All right.
All right, cool.
All right. Come back on purple. See, like my cup over there. I got one right there. All right, it is 9:15. Let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather. It's going to be like hot all week.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Our daytime highs going on a warming trend over the next couple of days as low pressure develops over eastern New Mexico. Sunshine today and about 80 to 85 on our afternoon high. A few clouds overnight down to the upper 50s and breezy, and then we'll get a mix of sunshine and clouds on Tuesday. Looks like upper 80s. Then by Wednesday, we'll hit the low 90s with sunshine. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 60 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 21%. Winds currently out of the north at 16 miles per hour. Increasing clouds today. Warm, 84 for a high, but winds will be breezy, as you can already attest. Out of the northeast, 15 to 20 today. Mostly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 55 degrees. Southeast winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. Tuesday, partly cloudy, highs right around 90 with south winds 15 to 20. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with an overnight low of 56, west winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Looking at the rest of the week on Wednesday, sunny and 94. Winds will be up out of the west 15 to 20, gusting as high as 30 miles per hour for the afternoon. Thursday, sunny and 94, mid-90s. We're not going to hit the century mark this week, but not that far from it, in all honesty. Friday, sunny, 94 once again, but they're throwing in some more winds. And then looking at your weekend, cooler for the weekend, but still pleasant. Sunny, 84 for Saturday, sunny and 84 for Sunday as well. All right, it is 17 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're going to take a 3-minute commercial break, and then we're going to talk Royal Family Kids Camp and Purple Day and all that good stuff up next. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
To plant or not to plant? That is the question. Hi, this is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company. Our tomato plants and pepper plants are ready to go. If you plant them now, you might have homegrown tomatoes and peppers before anyone else. Or the frost might kill them. As Clint Eastwood would say, do you feel lucky? You'll either be the smartest gardener in the county or you'll get to replant them all over again. I say go for it. You'll get more practice and we'll get more business. This is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company, and I apologize to William Shakespeare.
Mays Lumber has all the hard-to-find hardwood you've been looking for. Oak, cherry, walnut, poplar, and maple. Plus, hard-to-find exotic woods like purple heart, zebra wood, ambrosia maple, black limba, and bloodwood. Perfect for that one-of-a-kind gift piece or table. Get ready with Formica and Wilson Art countertops in 12-footer custom length with installation available. Make it happen at Mays Lumber, 115 South Virginia in Roswell, serving southeastern New Mexico and beyond since 1934.
Roswell is our home. That's why we've all got to do our part to stop illegal dumping. Throwing your trash, clutter, or yard debris in the alleys, sidewalks, or streets is a crime, and it takes time and money to clean it up. Those caught dumping illegally can face fines of up to $500. You can help by taking your waste to the landfill once a month for free with a paid water bill. Call the City of Roswell Solid Waste Department for more information at 575-624-6746. Help keep Roswell clean. After all, do you want your kids to grow up in a dump?
Wakefield Oil Express has the highest quality service in Roswell with a 17-point full-service oil change that includes a full wash and vacuum at their car wash. You won't find a better deal. They also offer full synthetic oil changes, fuel and cabin filter replacements, and will even check your battery. Their tunnel wash isn't afraid of dirty vehicles. They have the best value wash in town with free vacuums. They even offer wash passes that can be used for multiple vehicles. Next time you need your oil changed, go to the fast and efficient Wakefield Oil Express and let them earn your business. 3204 North Main, Roswell.
If your car breaks down, no need to cry, because there's always a pal nearby at Big O. At Big O Tires. Locally owned will get you in gear. That's because you've known us for years at Big O. Big O Tires. Don't need to sweat any extra labor. You can always trust a good neighbor at Big O. At Big O Tires. The best service is part of our code. Need a cup of sugar? We're down the road at Big O. At Big O Tires.
Now through April 24th, buy 3, get 1 free on Mesa AP3, Mesa HT, Cooper Endeavor, and Cooper Endeavor Plus brand tires. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Installation charges extra. Required on all 4 tires. Disposal fees extra and up to 10% shop fee based on non-discounted regular retail price. Not to exceed $35 were permitted. Eligibility may vary. Not valid with other offers. At participating locations, no cash value. Some stores in Missouri, Minnesota, and Kansas are company owned.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The average person spends 6 months of their lifetime waiting for a red light to turn green. Share this information with a police officer that pulls you over the next time you run a red light. Here's Mike Winters.
They might get a kick out of it. They might giggle, might give you a warning. Can't hurt, right? Well, don't be a jerk about it. But, be nice. It might give you a hookup. Good morning. It is 20 minutes after 9 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning from Royal Family Kids here in Roswell, Tabitha Denny back with us, and Kyla Williams as well. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
How are you doing today? How's everybody doing?
Doing good. Enjoying our weather.
Have a good Easter?
Yes.
Good deal. Got to spend some time with family and
eat.
And a lot of eating.
Lots of eating.
So did you guys have ham? We were just talking about this earlier, as ham being kind of the official food. I didn't have ham.
I didn't have ham.
Yeah, see, okay, maybe it's weird. I mean, he was like, everybody says ham. I mean, I've had ham a lot on Easter, but I didn't know if it was like official or unofficial.
No, and I think actually my son made us hamburgers and brats.
Nice.
It was
Cookout
really good.
Easter dinner. Yeah.
But with a grilled pineapple and sauteed. Oh, it's delicious.
I think if Christmas was warmer weather, we'd be doing the same thing for Christmas, too.
I think so, too.
I think that's the only reason it stops us. It's usually too cold to be out there grilling. That doesn't stop everybody, but, most of us, it kind of does. We're not here to talk about food, although I'm sure we'll get back to doing that.
Yes,
but Royal Family Kids here in Roswell. First off, before we talk about Purple Day and all that, we probably want to give some folks some background about it. Actually, this is not just local here. Royal Family Kids is it national?
It's international.
International, but about I don't know, 6 years ago, 8 years ago.
We're going on our 8th year.
8th year. Royal Family Kids was brought here to Roswell, and it's a great organization that works with helping abused, neglected kids, and these are kids right here in our own neighborhoods, here in Chavez County and surrounding areas. And these are kids that have rough lives, abused, foster home, multiple. Each kid has a unique story. But Royal Family Kids is all about giving these kids opportunities, chances. Each summer, the Royal Family Kids Camp takes place up in the mountains, and we get kids from all over the Pecos Valley here, really, come to the mountains and they have a week of fun camp, and that's what it is. It's not worrying about anything other than them up in the mountains, fishing, swimming, hiking, having fun, just being out in the woods and doing camp stuff. It's an all-volunteer organization of camp counselors that come for the week and are trained, obviously, because these are kids that helping because
through the lessons of fishing and swimming and all that, they're learning how people should interact and families should interact, and they learn things about love. They receive love. They and in the hopes of that rubs off over a while, and they are able to give love and do the things that we as humans covet and want as part of our own lives. And at the end of the day, that's all that's about is giving these kids an opportunity to feel something that should be normal to every kid.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Is that pretty much
that's
it?
pretty much. That was really good. You know, you turn on the radio talking about that.
That was great.
Yeah, and so April is kind of a busy month for Royal Family Kids. Purple Day is
April 27th.
April 27th, which is for the Royal Family Kids the biggest recognition day for the program, and really it's all about raising awareness and funds.
Yes.
So you guys are asking people to support by wearing your purple, donning your purple. There's going to be signs. We'll talk all about that here in a second. But of course supporting Royal Family Kids, whether it's you raising or donating money for Royal Family Kids, which by the way all of it goes back to the programs and everything for the camp, these kids. If maybe, even if I get it, money's tight, you're like, dude, I just paid for Easter, I'm broke, I get it. But at least, put a purple sign in your yard. Maybe wear a purple shirt in that day. Share it on your social media accounts. Get the word out there so as many people know that it happens, and then we can, where the problem getting to camp is, hey, we need to get more kids in here, not do we have enough money to pull camp off this.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And that's what we want to have happen. So fill in the gaps a little bit here. Talk about Purple Day and more of the details that I kind of missed.
And that was a good transition in. One of the things with camp is because we are 100% volunteer based, and so all our funds are fundraised, donated. We don't get anything from the state or anyone else, but it's kind of like, did the chicken come first or the egg?
Right.
Because a lot of times that if we don't have the funds, it makes it difficult to take the kids. And if we have the kids, so it's kind of a little bit of both.
You can't have the funds without the kids, and you can't get the kids without the funds.
Correct.
Yes. And it is not a fun conversation to have a list of kids' names and then to be like, where is our money at?
Right.
Do we have enough money to take these kids?
Yeah.
It is not a fun conversation.
No.
It's not. And unfortunately, what happens is, usually what happens when you probably fall into those situations, people that have step up every time, that they just give of themselves. It's like, all right, I'll cover it out of my own pocket. And we love those people, but they can't afford to do that all the time. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so we want to put this on people's radar. So, you always hear more hands make less work, and that's really what we're talking about here. We have, I know we've been having this debate for 100 years, but we got roughly 50,000 people that live in the city of Roswell. Everybody contributed $1. $1.
That's a lot of money.
For your kids, if you got 4 people in your family, give us $4.
Right.
And if everyone did that, $50,000 would go a long way to make sure Royal Family Kids would have an excellent camp this year.
And one of the things with camp is we don't charge any of our foster families. So there's no fee for them.
Only thing they got to do is come and enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what it does is it not only gives the kids a week to be a kid, because many of them have so many other things going on in their lives, it also gives our foster parents kind of a chance to rest for that week.
Sure.
And so it's kind of a double thing. It really, really helps. But because
allowing the parents to recharge their batteries while the kids are getting, makes
absolutely.
sense.
Yeah. And so what we do is we fundraise. It's a cost approximately $500 per child to go to camp. And like you mentioned earlier, they get to do a whole slew of things while they're at camp. And so because we are volunteer run, you did talk about like training. So we have to vet our counselors and our volunteers.
The worst thing you want to do is have unqualified volunteers working with a bunch of kids that have already been abused and neglected.
Correct.
You don't want to make it worse.
Yes, most of them have all had some form of sexual abuse, physical abuse. And so we want to make sure that everybody that comes to camp is safe and, safe for our kids, safe for our volunteers to do that. And so we do have training that is a mandatory training and background checks.
Well, and it's going to be beneficial for the volunteers because we know you have a big heart. We know you want to come and help. But do you necessarily have the knowledge to break through to these kids? And that's where some of the training comes in. It's not just, it's teaching you how to make connections because these kids come from abused, neglected homes. I talk with enough people over at the Roswell Refuge to know when you're dealing with abused and neglected people, they build walls, they build barriers, they build things to protect themselves.
Yes.
And you've got to pick through that. They're not going to just let you in most of the time. You gotta work your way in and work through that armor to get to the core. And so that's where that training is because it can be probably very frustrating for your volunteers. They're just here to want to help them, and you got someone that's resisting, and it's not because it's just because they've been abused and they don't trust nobody. Right. And you've got to earn that trust.
And it's
that's how
funny
you
you say that, because so many times that with these kids, they do have this walls built up.
Mm-hmm.
And so during that week, we're not there to give them therapy or doing. We're there that week is to show them love and that they're loved and God loves them and know that they are special.
Sure.
Because many of them have been told they are not. But during that week, it's funny. We'll have kids that come at the first of the week. We've had some that would not come off the bus when we get there. Some of them were just didn't want anything.
Sure.
And at the end of the week, we can't get that particular child on the bus to leave, or they're the ones completely bawling and crying and doing that.
Because it made so many connections and friends.
So many to where they've let that guard and they realize that I am special and I can be loved and people love me and I'm not what I've had other people who are supposed to love me tell me that. And so that's one of the big things of why I can tell you after my first year of going, I said to myself after this, I was like, I will never miss a camp again. And that was 7 years ago.
What's going on here? Yeah.
Because not only do those lives of the children change, our lives change. It's very different. It's like at the end of camp, we're all like, okay, no more camp for a little while. And then we're like, can't wait for camp to get
But then
here.
you miss it after a while.
And then you miss it. And because you see that
it's
breakthrough.
exhausting to go through the camp.
It is emotionally, it is. And physically for some.
But when you're done, you're satisfied because at the end of the day, you're making differences.
Yes.
Every child that went through there that now has made a friend or has picked up a hobby or has realized that, you know, when
they are lovable.
Yeah, that you're loved and being a part of something's a good thing.
Absolutely.
And when they realize all that, then the camp is just hit a home run. That's exactly what it's there for.
Yes.
Who cares the kid can't fish afterwards?
Right.
It's not about learning to fish. It's about the experience of being there and you know what? We're here hanging out and just living life and hey, it's nice out here. The weather's nice and smells great and you know, it's just not worrying about what's going to happen later today.
Correct.
You know, they just, you know, what do they worry about? What are we cooking for dinner? That's the biggest worry of the day, you know?
Well, and that's one of the things, is that the kids, they get to have some choices in their life that week. Like if there's a particular activity and they don't want to do it, we are not going to make them go do it because these kids, you know, Kyla works with CASA, so she, you know, and I volunteer, but she actually works there.
Yeah.
But we see these kids are told what they're going to do and how they're going to do stuff, so they can't, they don't have those choices. And so for a week, for 5 days, they get to make some choices for themselves. And I think for all of us, that's empowering.
Absolutely.
And
they get to see that other kids that are in similar situations as them. And I think that's empowering for them as well, that they're not alone. And then at the end of camp, they get a photo book with photos of different moments that they've had throughout camp.
Sure.
And we use the word magical moments because that's our goal at camp. We want to create magical moments for them. And so as the therapist at CASA, some of these kids I get to see, you know, outside of camp.
Sure.
And one of the greatest things I'm always telling the team is the kids all throughout the year are like, do I get to go back to camp? Or, you know, remembering things from camp.
Sure.
And when they rode a horse for the very first time, they've never even seen a horse and they got to ride a horse, which is so cool.
And that's one of the cool parts of because you actually get to see, because like some of your volunteers, they only really get to see them at that week at camp.
Exactly.
So they don't get to see the improvements or the progression except for that week at camp.
Yes.
If they're repeat campers here. For you saw them beforehand and saw what they were going through, the struggles and things. You're seeing them at camp, seeing them negotiating some of that, and then you're seeing the end result where things that they were dealing with as problems prior to camp, they aren't such a big deal on the other side. They're kind of, I'm not saying they're going to come night and day different, but it's all part of that maturing, growing, learning, almost retraining the brains a little bit to say, you can trust humanity. There are...
Exactly.
Humanity is a wonderful thing. I'm sorry.
your first part of life on it did not show you that. We can show you the other way and what it's
And
really
the camp goes until they're 12 years old, and then we have a little special something that we do for the kids to kind of transition them out of camp. Very special just for that age group on one of the nights. And so what's always interesting is as I'm going through the process, whether it's in therapy or just another aspect of CASA, they're already wanting to come and volunteer. They're already asking.
I was about to say.
And we just had our first, Mike, as a matter of fact, 2 years ago, we had our first kiddo that actually had gone through
as a camper.
Got to come back and volunteer. And for us, it's one of those bittersweet moments that we have to still have camp.
Yeah, first you're like, man, I'm getting old. And then second, you're like, holy cow, this is cool. The circle of life is working.
Yes, and for them to come back, and Kyla touched on it, I think for the kids to see that it's not just them. But to have a kid that's coming back as a volunteer to go, I was in your place.
You hit a home run with that child.
And, for them to come back. And so for us, I think that's one of those kind of amazing things.
That's the most best evidence that you as an individual can have that what you're doing is making a difference. And because I was just thinking, you've been 8 years now. You're going to start hitting that point where some of your counselors and volunteers are going to be campers at some point. And now this last year was the first year you're seeing that. And
probably year before last we had, and then we had one last year too. Well, because 20 we didn't have any, so 21
that was COVID year. So
but we it was one of those that's really neat to see. Some of those come back.
Now, as we mentioned earlier, we've got the kids. We need the bucks. We need donations here. Here on Purple Day, there's lots of ways. Talk about the volunteers, though. I know you guys always could use more counselors to be a part of camp. Like you said, there's training involved, but how does one start that process, and what's the obligation that they're committing themselves to?
So there's so many different roles for volunteers. So a lot of people, we realize, cannot take off a week and go spend at camp. So there's, we need prayers all the time. We need help we have a welcome home dinner. We have registration.
I should say this is a faith-based Christian
it is faith-based,
organization.
But we're not, so it's faith-based, but we're not it's not a church camp.
Gotcha.
Because we have children from the state, and so there's still
there's not like a religion class or nothing.
You're not going up and being baptized. You're not calling to the altar. The main thing is, when I say faith-based, it's that we're telling these kids that we love them and God loves them and that they are special, they are royal. That whole thing is letting those kids know.
You're not indoctrinating.
Exactly. No, that's not any of that stuff. It's just to let them know.
Unfortunately, in this day and age, we got to say that nowadays.
We do. It is unfortunate.
We live in a world now where everyone wants to try to see through your intentions and find ill will there. And at the end of the day, there's nothing ill will about the Royal Family Kids Camp. We've got kids that, left to their own devices, are going to be dead or going to go down past that. And it's not fair to them, because all these kids, they were just handed a bad deck of cards. They were dealt a bad hand. We talk about life and life not being fair, and that's absolutely true. And unfortunately, the kids that are part of Royal Family Kids are a direct product of that. And that's why the camp exists. Where, you know what, you got a really bad hand. You know what? We're going to show you that life doesn't matter what you got a band head. We can still make have an excellent life, and show you what humanity's really about, and show you what it's like to be a good human.
It's planting those memories. I mean, I work with foster kids in my day job with treatment kids, and so Kyla and I are probably, out of all of us, are pretty lucky where we get to see before and after to get that experience to do it. So that part of it's really neat.
Sure.
But for our volunteers, they come from all walks of life. Some have had experience in trauma in their past. And that's part of the reason why we vet. We interview all our volunteers, because we want to make sure it's a good fit, not just for our kids, but for them, because we deal with adults that have not dealt with their trauma. And the last thing in the world we want to do is to trigger an adult while they're at camp.
Absolutely.
Or to trigger another child to do that. So it's vetted in that way. But for the most part, we've had only maybe a handful over the years to do that because of the reason. And we do, like I said, the background checks, because we also want to make sure that we're not placing these kids and we have with someone who could possibly hurt them.
Absolutely.
And so there's some pretty strict rules. And we do that for the protection of our kids and protection of our volunteers.
And I think most people understand that, and for that reason are very
receptive to going through the process. To like you said, it could be a little invasive, a little bit annoying, but that's the part of what it is. Because at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, the end game, what we're trying to do is worth that. That's why we do that, and that's and I think the other part too is your volunteers come away with so much. Even like you said, you two have you see it day in and day out. So I'm not saying you're jaded, but you know the real deal. You don't. It's not sugar coated for you, or it's not an image on TV for you,
or it's not somewhere else, not in my community, or not next door to me. It's, it's in the other town, or it's not my home. And unfortunately, we see that like it happens in places that you would never imagine. Yeah. And so it's becoming that, but it's giving those kids, that chance. And so our volunteers, at least 16 and up, our counselors, what we call our counselors. So we have a 1-to-2 ratio. So for every counselor, there's 2 kids.
That's an amazing number.
And so
ratio, by the way.
We do that for the reason because we want those children to have all that attention to them for that week. And so we do that. So our counselors, though, do have to be 18 and up. They have to be adults. But we have other roles that happen to make camp work because the planning goes into it. It literally takes a village.
It does.
And so our planning pretty much, there's probably 3 months out of the year we're not planning camp. And now we're got in the groove, we're going. But with COVID happening and doing some of the other stuff, we lost some of our volunteers because one of the things, they were in college and now they have to be grown-ups. And so they had to get real jobs. And so we're constantly, and so we're constantly having to do that. So we're kind of almost starting over again, per se.
So you kind of need a new batch, a new generation of volunteers to step forward.
Yes.
And even with, there's so many roles at camp, like Tabitha was kind of speaking on, we use the word support staff at camp. And that's maybe you just don't want to be a counselor, that's not your thing, or maybe you're 18 and under, maybe you're one of our 17-year-olds, so you're not quite there yet.
Sure.
But at camp, from the time the kids' eyes open until the time they go to sleep, there is something going on. There's an activity. We're very much scheduled throughout the day, from one activity to the next, the next.
Well, I would imagine too, if maybe you're not working well with groups of people and things, there's probably lots of jobs you can do there at the camp. That's just the running of the there's maintenance involved. There's food and waste removal. There's things that have to be done for the health and welfare of the camp that maybe don't require necessarily interaction with the kids all the time, but is absolutely an invaluable service to making sure that camp runs.
Yes.
So if you want to, I'm not good with kids, but I can make sure your trash is not going to be piled up, or the food gets, all the unfun, sexy parts of camp that need to be done. All need those volunteers.
And they're all important.
They are. And I'll plant a seed because I think this is important. But we, when we have the activities at camp, yes, we have the fun things, the horseback riding, zip line, all of those things. But some other stations or areas that we like to have, for instance, one of them is a grandma and grandpa area.
Okay.
Another one is an aunt and an uncle, and they do some sort of fun activity. It's probably different every year. But one of the reasons why we do that is to show these kids kind of what it looks like in a family unit. What does an appropriate grandma and grandpa look like? And so they get to receive love from those people, our grandma and grandpa, or our aunt and uncle.
Sure.
And that is always, it's kind of interesting because, yes, they love the zip line, and yes, they love these fun things, but they really, really love to go visit aunt and uncle. Or, grandma and grandpa sitting on the porch that give out cookies.
Sure.
We get quilts donated to us. What's that group called so we could shout them out?
It's from the church. And if you hadn't asked me, I would have told you. It's the church on Main Street over there, that the ladies over there, they do quilts all years and give us, so the kids get quilts. It's over by Pioneer, like across the street. Oh my goodness.
Is it, I'm looking up, now I'm racking my brain thinking over there. Is it, the Lutheran church there?
Yes.
Okay. Emmanuel Lutheran, is that one?
No, not
it's not Emmanuel.
Nope.
It's the other one. Dang it, with the pumpkins.
Yes, that's always at the front. I can't. Just totally. Yes.
I think y'all's thing just boiled over to my
Someone
head.
write it on Facebook.
Yeah.
But yes, so they. And I'm glad that's one of the things. And I have a couple shout outs. So that is one of them. So the kids get their own quilts, or one year some of them got animals.
Yeah.
And so they get that when they go see grandma and grandpa. And so with grandma and grandpa, that's the one thing we haven't had in a little while. We have the aunt and uncle, which they talk about family, and that is one of the things that we want to do at camp, so they can see what an appropriate. And I'm appropriate. I don't want to say normal because normal is very different, but an appropriate, so they can have that. And
what society looks at as what we say is a loving family.
Yes.
What we see, and this is what a lot of kids your age are experiencing. This is what it's like.
And those quilts, it's something they get to go home with, kind of like their photo books. It's a keepsake. They're going to remember it forever. They're always going to remember grandma and grandpa. And that's very special. So it's so much more than just a zip line or, these moments where they get to have fun and be kids.
Sure.
Yes, that is so important. But then there's these other aspects too that make this camp very unique.
Sure. Well, it's really teaching them who the mentors are in their life and things because they've gone into a life where
healthy.
Well, where in a healthy lifestyle you figured out who your mentors are because they kind of come to the surface real quickly.
Yes.
In a abusive situation, that's not always true. So things that we take for granted, people that grew up in these loving, surrounded, nurturing, healthy relationships, it's sometimes hard for us to understand that if you never experienced that, that's not common sense or commonplace.
Well, because some kids, maybe, for example, their grandpa's not a safe adult.
Yeah.
Maybe that's, a trigger for them or a bad memory. And so at camp, they get to relearn that there are safe, older adult men that can be in the role of grandpa that can love them and show them appropriate love and connection. And that's special.
And I think that's just good for generational, you look in the world we live in today, and it seems very divisive about everything, including generations. You got, millennials yelling at Gen Xers and Gen Xers yelling at baby boomers and vice versa and all that. Maybe some of this, kind of blurs those lines a little bit and understand that, the people that are older than you aren't all just talking down to you. And that's another, I think.
Yes.
So these same people probably look at grandmother, grandpa, and aunt and uncle and say, yeah, they're the ones who tell me I'm doing it wrong all the time. You know what I mean? And that's, so you're showing, no. There's give and take on that. They show you the love and then try to steer you on the path. And when you come off, they try to nudge you back on it. That's all they're doing, And
so we need a grandma and grandpa now.
But I think if you love camping and love all this stuff, like when the counselor stuff, do y'all stay in cabins or tents?
They do. So our counselors and some of our support staff, they're actually, the counselors are with the kids 24/7.
Okay.
And so they get a little break in the evening so they can go do their showers and check their phones because that's one of the things that you don't have there.
Even no matter how much you want it.
Nope. They get put up.
There's no cell service.
No, it gets put up because we want your attention on those kids, not on anything else. And so they have all that, but they're with those kids so they can learn and be with those kids. And those kids start to feel like they really are here for me.
Sure.
And to be able to...
It's to make sure there's no blurred lines there. They understand that this person is your mentor, your leader for the next week here.
Yes.
If you have questions, concerns, desires, this is the person that's going to help you with it.
Yeah, and the kids see, we had a lawyer, he came to camp one year, and a kid had kind of asked him, aren't you busy? You're a lawyer, oh my goodness. And the counselor was able to say, hey, but this week is your week. So I'm putting I'm busy in my life aside because you're important enough.
Yeah.
And I think that that's special too.
Sure.
To show these kids, I'm here for you this week. And you deserve it.
And I hope that's a lesson those kids take with them because when they get older and their lives get crazy busy, they remember that moment. It's like, you know what? Life's never too busy to help others.
Yeah, it's planting that seed. And that's what we do. Kyla mentioned about the photo book.
Mm-hmm.
One of the kids that come early on, the first year, one of the other gentlemen on our leadership team had gone over because they had gotten adopted, and they came over, and that picture book from the first year, and this is almost 4 years later, was still by their bed.
Ah, cool.
And as a young man, and so it's one of those that they would remember, and so that's what we want for them. To have those memories of doing. So we have a videographer and a photographer that's there the whole week that videos everything. And so each morning from the next day, the kids get to see themselves on the video.
They're the stars of the day before.
They're stars.
Yeah,
Our videographer's amazing. her name's Juliana. I'm sure nobody knows who she is, but she gives the kids.
It's like, I know a Juliana.
Yeah,
Probably the
right?
same Juliana. Just
She gives the kids one of the little
the GoPros.
The GoPros, and they get to like
go down the
water slide, or they get to go
show
whatever,
your adventure. What
and
you
they're
wanna
doing
do
it
with
from their perspective,
That's
and
cool.
so it's really neat. And so then the kids get super excited to get up there and see themselves in the morning when they're watching it on video.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many roles and so many things that these kids get to do while we're there. And again, there's no charge to our families. But we want to make sure that while we're there, we're giving them. And there's so many people that donate their time. Like, we're all volunteers. We all volunteer board. We all do that part of it. And so, but without our community stepping in and doing, because sometimes, you go to a potluck and some people say, let me just give you the money and you can make it, versus I'm not going to make it. It's the same thing with camp. Like, if you can't go for a week, donate.
Yeah.
Every little bit helps. It's not like a specific, because you mentioned earlier, if everybody gave $1 out of everybody in town, we would be good every year.
Absolutely. That's really all it takes. It's not. It's more hands make less work. And if you got $5, please donate it. If you want to volunteer, every little bit helps make this camp happen.
Yep. And at Purple Day, we will do a toy drive. I'll let Tabitha talk about the details of that, but maybe people are asking, a toy drive, why do they need toys? And so at camp, one of the days we do a very special event, and we actually hold a birthday party for each one of these kids.
Cool.
A lot of times it's because maybe they've never had a birthday party before.
Sure.
They've never been celebrated.
They
They've
weren't
never
the center
been,
of attention for anything. Yeah.
And so there's a sweet lady, Tabitha can give her a shout out, but she'll make a cake with the kids' names on it, so they actually get their own individual. And it's not even a little cake; it's a pretty nice cake with their name on it.
Nice
they're
cake.
beautiful.
It's when they're going to be sick when they eat it all by themselves.
Yes. Well, most of them don't tend to eat it, Mike.
It's a cake.
The face all
They
over
wear more than they eat.
Oh, yes.
But we decorate. Then we have a fun event where maybe it's every year's a little bit different, but a carnival. I mean, we go huge.
Cool.
And so not only do they get gifts, but their counselors get to go and kind of pick out from the toys that are donated from the community. They get, as they're learning the kids throughout the week, maybe a kid's mentioned, oh my gosh, I love Barbies, or oh, I love, I've never had a football, but I wish I had one. Then the counselor at night will get to go and kind of pick in a room where we have all these toys set up, and then they wrap their gifts and we deliver it to them on their birthday at their party and celebrate them. And it is so awesome to see, because then the rest of the camp that evening is them playing with their toys. They have their cake. It's decorated for their party. There's
family
jumping
night in the
dollies.
den kind of thing.
It is a riot, and it is so fun. And just watching them, their smiles is like,
be kids.
And to be blessed with these gifts. And so, of course, we're always needing money as well. But if you have toys, please come on Purple Day. Our toy drive will be at McDonald's.
Okay. Down to the UFO one?
The UFO one, yes.
From
2 to 6.
Excellent. This is April 27th. That's Purple Day. We'd love to paint the town purple.
Yes.
Do you guys have signs and things
so
where
we
people
have
can
signs.
pick up?
So it's $500 if you want to do a sign.
Okay. And again, all that money goes
back to camp. Everything goes straight into camp. We also have some Purple Day shirts.
Okay.
So we'll be selling them for $20 for a donation.
You guys still have the website they can go to?
We still have the website. Yep.
Okay.
It's purpleday.squarespace.com.
Okay.
Or you can email rfk327@gmail.com. Or call me.
Or if you look Purple Day Roswell on Facebook,
yes, we
shoot
have
any questions through the messenger there, and these ladies will get back to you.
Yes. Debbie Lucas is the one who does our cakes.
Okay.
And she's been doing them for many years. And it's neat because those cakes, they have the kids' names on them.
That's so personal.
So she really personalizes the cakes. So they're not small cakes. They're, but the kids have their names on it. So it's one of those neat things because the kids have never had birthdays.
Yeah.
And so they remember those type things.
Yeah.
So we do.
It's done just for them.
It is. And it's a whole day. And we usually will have Camille from Runyon Farms comes up and does the zoo. And like for all of us, I think we absolutely love that part. Mm-hmm. But there's so many different things for the kids.
Yeah.
But with Purple Day, with the toys and stuff, so they're unwrapped gifts. and we want them from like ages 6, 7 to 12.
Okay.
Typically, it's 1 year somebody got remote control cars. Oh my gosh, it's been the biggest hit ever since, even for the girls. The girls, so
everybody loves driving cars, and
most of the girls don't tend. It's really funny how you would think they would like the Barbies and the dolls, and typically they don't. Most of all the kids want like craft type stuff, like making jewelry or games or like sports, like footballs.
I know
and basketballs.
when I was a boy, Barbie had a Corvette and a cool house, and I was like, I don't really want the Barbie, but I want that Corvette.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
Yes. And they love the remote control car thing. So those type things. And if you're not sure you want to go buy, you can always just give us money when we're out there, and we'll go pick up stuff. Because we do try to learn something about the kids. So we kind of give something that's...
We want them to be so excited
to have it versus just giving them a random
it's
toy.
something for their very own, and they treat it as such.
And some of them have never had anything of their own, or they move from home to home and they don't get to take that stuff with them. So, and that's one of the things with the pictures and some of the other stuff we want them to have.
Absolutely
on there.
I just saw the time.
Yes, and
I tend to do that. But we want to get people involved. Please sign up. Please sign up to donate money or buy a sign or buy a T-shirt or donate a toy here.
So for Purple Day, I want to throw out before we get off is Domino's has been a great supporter for us, as has Crumlin Auto Group. But
awesome.
For Wednesday, for the 27th, if you order from Domino's, you need to tell them that you're ordering and that you are doing it for Royal Family Kids.
Okay.
Either of the locations.
Okay.
All day on Wednesday, let them know, and Domino's is going to give us a percentage of their sales that day.
Oh, nice. So maybe,
but it is important to make sure that you tell them it's for us.
Okay. So
that
probably maybe put down your app that day and call direct or
Absolutely.
come in direct to either location.
Or go in and order and do that for either one of the locations.
Matter of fact, if you do the carry out right now, I think through Domino's, they give you $3 back too, and you can donate that back to the family kids.
I like that.
Go pick it up yourself. They give you $3 and you can donate it to the family kids.
Great idea.
So that'll be on Wednesday, the 27th.
On the 27th. And if anybody wants to buy a shirt, we have shirts, our Purple Day shirts. Get the signs up. You can do that as well.
Yeah, let's
throw out one quick thing for our office. So we have an office challenge.
Okay.
So if your business donates $500 from the office itself, and then you fundraise within your office $500 from your employees, a couple days before Purple Day, once you've got that to us beforehand, we'll come bring you some shirts.
Nice.
We'll do that so that you some swag so you can purple.
Yeah.
We want to paint the town purple on Wednesday.
And Facebook.
We want to see a sea of purple here on April 27th in Roswell. It's all for Royal Family Kids.
Yes.
Please go to the website. Again, give out the web address.
So the web address is purpleday.squarespace.com.
Okay.
You can email, which is rfk327@gmail.com, or you can call me, Tabitha, at 919-255-0136, and we will
get you
all set up. Or check out Facebook.
Yeah, and then like I said, or the Royal.
Yes.
If you do Royal Family Kids Roswell, I believe is what you type in.
Yes.
If you do any kind of Royal Family Kids Roswell, any combo of that, you're going to see it pretty easily.
Absolutely.
And then you can learn more about exactly what we were just talking about here. Learn obviously more about Purple Day, the camp, but even just seeing some of the stories, some of the cool stuff that comes out of Royal Family. Some of those success stories, you can read about those too.
Yes, and our team will be out there, of course, at McDonald's on that day for Purple Day. So if people have questions, they can come there. We'll be there. And then, of course, online is our application to apply to be a volunteer.
There you go.
Please come to camp, volunteer, and fill out that application.
When you come
online.
to McDonald's that day, dress up in your favorite Grimace shirt, because he was purple, and get a chocolate shake. That was kind of McDonald's with purple Grimace.
I forgot about Grimace.
And he was the shake guy.
A long time ago.
Get a chocolate shake at McDonald's.
There you go.
In your favorite Grimace shirt for Purple Day.
There you go.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time.
All right,
okay?
bye.
Thank you.
It is 9:57. Let's go ahead and take a quick break before they kick me off the radio. Don't go away. The Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District is looking for a qualified field technician to join their team. The PVACD conserves the waters of the Roswell Artesian Basin with lands located in both Chavez and Eddy counties. Please visit their website at pvacd.com for requirements and job qualifications or for more information on this great career opportunity. Resumes can be submitted at the PVACD office located at 2303 East 2nd Street in Roswell. The Pecos Valley Artesian Conservancy District is an equal opportunity employer.
When it comes to the security of your home or business, you want a local company, one that has a personal investment right here in Southeast New Mexico. Zenith Security Services is your local Honeywell dealer. Zenith can handle all of your business and residential alarms, cameras, and IT services, as well as home theater installations, all from a local company. The Spring Starter Package is now available at Zenith Security Services for your home or business. Call the real Zenith Security Services today, 575-626-3521. Zenith Security Services, protection with a local
touch. To plant
touch.
or not to plant? That is the question. Hi, this is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company. Our tomato plants and pepper plants are ready to go. If you plant them now, you might have homegrown tomatoes and peppers before anyone else, or the frost might kill them. As Clint Eastwood would say, do you feel lucky? You'll either be the smartest gardener in the county, or you'll get to replant them all over again. I say go for it. You'll get more practice and we'll get more business. This is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company, and I apologize to William Shakespeare.
Bob Reed Pest Control protects you and your home by controlling pests that invade. Bob Reed Pest Control understands the importance of safety in and around your home from unwanted pests. Protect your family's most important investment, your home, and protect your children and pets from the dangers of poisonous bugs and insects. Call Bob Reed Pest Control today and let our fully licensed pest control professionals start working for you and your family. Find us fast in names and numbers. Call 623-5344, serving all of Southeast New Mexico.
We all have the power to prevent substance misuse and promote positive mental health in New Mexico. Whether by supporting someone